Yo,
What's up, David?
what's up? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, brother. Where you from, David?
Poland.
And do you currently live there now?
Yeah, sadly.
I
He loves
gotta I gotta
Poland.
check out your podcast, man. Stu told me about it, but I didn't make the connection. I'm like, David. I didn't ask him, but then I saw on Instagram. I was like, oh, he talking about that David. So
Yeah, he's
I
the
gotta
dude
go
that
check out.
comments on literally every post on Instagram.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is there something wrong with your video, Stu?
yeah,
Uh,
Stu.
can you see me now?
We can see you, but it looks like an Android phone. It looks like a
The fuck?
PlayStation 2.
Like a Nokia.
Got my fancy fucking camera hooked up. Hold on a sec.
Your audio is perfect, but your video looks like a sidekick phone back in the days.
Old games.
So David, how's the bodybuilding? Oh, there you go. You look good. You
That
look good
better?
now, Stu. We can see your ugly face in
Yeah,
HD now.
well, look good.
Yeah,
Let's not
I
get ahead of
think
ourselves.
the previous version was better.
Fuck you. Live in the third
Oh,
world.
what's good, Ken? Oh, you can't hear me. What's up, Ken?
Can you hear me?
Uh-oh. We okay? Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, we
Awesome.
got David
Awesome.
on.
Yeah.
David,
David,
let's
Yeah, we spoke
how's
before.
the? I'm sorry. Go ahead, David.
Yeah, we spoke before we can, so we know each other.
Yeah, yeah. What's the bodybuilding scene like in Poland?
It's developing, but it's still it's been hard to get a pro card here for a long time because we had to pay loads of cash, to become a pro. You had to like even ask to be one
Oh wow.
because first you had to send like an invite, and then once you get invited, you had to pay like $5K for it. And
Damn.
now it's just getting better because more of the European shows are here, but it's still like it's not yet like USA that you get a three pro cards or a pro card each division. You
Yeah.
get just for example, I was second three times
Mhm.
Yeah,
when
talk about the shows you did this year, dude.
I've done
We go
four
to
shows. I won three. I won one of them and been second three times.
holy
you
shit.
know, you know what, what's crazy? That amount of money that is being spent to just even compete at those shows or do the whole administrative process. If you just fly to America and just do the nationals, even if you come second, bro, you're turning pro. You know
Well,
what I
Yeah,
mean?
but it's not
it,
possible if you are not a
it doesn't
citizen,
work.
right?
You
Uh,
No.
can't you can't get your pro card if you do the nationals if you're not a citizen. But you can do I think you can compete in it, but you just won't get your pro card. But he
No,
could
you
do the
still.
Arnold amateur in Ohio, and he could do the amateur Olympia, right?
Yeah, but it's still
yeah.
just one pro card, I think, or three pro
Oh
cards.
yeah,
So it's same
right,
here.
right.
You can do like
Mm.
European championships, something like this, and you get like two.
So what's your weight, David? Are you like a light heavyweight?
Oh, he's
No,
tall.
I'm
He's a
super heavy.
super. Yeah.
I'm super.
Wait, really?
Holy
He's
shit.
big. He's a big ass dude.
Yeah, I'm
He,
five
he,
eleven.
he
Wait,
doesn't look that
really?
tall, right? He
He's
doesn't look that
so
tall.
tall, man.
He's got the
That's
big head.
crazy.
He's got the big head, just like me.
I
Yeah,
didn't I didn't think you were that tall. But yeah, I mean if you're
Bro,
5'11", yeah, you're gonna be a super.
yeah,
yeah.
I thought you were like 5'6". These pictures
No,
ain't doing you justice, you know?
no.
That's a
By the
solid
way,
that's a solid physique, man.
yeah. By the way, how do you feel now?
Uh uh After what?
Like not being the only pro for the first time.
Oh, I mean it feels great. My ego is through the roof. My ego is through the roof now. But but looking at his physique, he would for sure turn pro in the US, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
thank you.
year, yeah, I think he could have. I don't know if he could have beaten Justin Wyatt, but like
He would have be the
pretty fun.
second place guy for sure.
Yeah, I don't even know the second place guy's name, honestly.
Who's
No
who's the
offense.
second weighted
Uh,
supers? I don't even know who that was. in supers versus
I
Fredo.
don't.
Me neither.
We're not saying this to be disrespectful in case she watches the show. Well, honestly, I don't know who the second place guy was, if I'm being honest. But maybe we should know. How do I find that out?
I
Where do I
know
go to
why,
check that?
because he was
NPC
being
News
coached
Online.
by Kuba.
Oh, he was Coop's
NPC.
guy? Shit.
Yeah, Kuba was making his workout plans.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, so let me go
Oh,
to
no,
Kuba.
Kuba's doing Justin's workout plans, not the second place guys. Yeah.
You mean Justin
NPC
Shire?
News Online.
No, Justin Wyatt, the guy who
Wyatt.
won the supers
Yeah,
this year.
yeah.
I don't even know where to go find it, but I feel like I should because I don't like when the older guys say I don't know anybody. I'm like, I don't want to be the guy that doesn't know anybody.
We're not the older
Oh,
guys, are we?
About older
No.
guys, what do you guys think about this whole Eric's Muscle speaking about fake Cbum's followers?
Bro,
Hold
I
on,
was
hold on.
Huh?
Before that, guys, the guy's
Yeah.
name is Drake Sanders.
Drake
okay. Let me
Sanders.
find that.
Came,
Let me go
came
find
second.
that.
I'm looking at
Drake.
NPC News Online.
Drake
Drake.
Champagne Poppy. That's him.
Drake M. Sanders. This is him, right? Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
that's
so.
him. That's him. Yeah, that's him.
Let's see. He looks good. Yeah. He got big legs, not sweeping legs, but his fucking lower quads looks. His sweep starts super low, but it's pretty big. Let me see how he looked on stage. Let me see. This may be a good video. Okay, let's see how he looked. Okay. I would say good quads. So far, looks to be in good condition. Some good thickness. He looks a little shorter, but I mean, I can't tell these days because I thought
He's in good
David
shape.
was short.
He's in good shape.
He's in good shape.
Yeah.
You can see it from the glutes, but I can't tell because everything is so compact. You know what I mean?
He looks good, man. He looks good. But I would have to see David next to him to really understand where they fall. But I still think David could beat him, but it's hard to say unless you see them together. He has a good back. Honestly, he looks pretty good, man. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't look. I guess he doesn't look super aesthetic. Is one thing I could say. But he's a good bodybuilder. He got some. Doesn't have the widest clavicles, but
that's what I was gonna say. I think it's because he doesn't have that wide frame, so everything is just put together. But he doesn't really have a weakness outside of his structure. Everything seems to be.
Oh, okay. I'm remembering this guy now. He was he's one of Nathan Epler's guys. Nathan Epler coached him. Because he took that picture you just saw was like the same place that Epler takes all his photos in at that gym.
Yeah, he doesn't have the most width. You see, his back has some good thickness, but he doesn't have. He's not a wide guy. That's one of the things that can harm me sometimes because you can't change the structure.
Well, his structure isn't bad. I think like he just needs more shit under his armpit. Like my back kind of looked like that at the USA's because I didn't have much teres like right under my arm there, but it's improved since then. So
how did you improve that?
I just started doing wide grip pull downs a lot. And I never used to do those much. I remember watching like a Dorian Yates video like forever ago, and he was like, I never did any wide grip pull downs, and I was like, oh, he has a good back. I'll just fuck wide grip.
I don't know, Stu. Sometimes you don't give yourself enough credit. I think this is structural. Like, you have a wide structure shoulders. Like if you look at his shoulders, it's just it's really straight, and that's what's limiting him. I don't think it's the ability to put on muscle. I just think just the structure itself.
I guess what Stu
more under his armpit though, like
exactly, I guess what Stu was saying that his structure is his structure. So the only thing he can really do is put more muscle in his armpits. But yeah, Stu had a wide frame from the front, but his back doesn't look. At least it didn't look super wide from the back at USA's, but it does look wider now. You know,
it's been improving slowly.
Yeah,
just because I never used to train that bit of it. Really,
there's some things you can't change, right? I'm just looking at this podcast, right? I'm looking at all of us sitting down here. Look at everyone. Everyone's like this. Everyone's like this.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just
that's one of the
that's body.
What if you look at Wyatt doesn't have wide clavicles, but he jam packed it with muscle. So I'm sure on stage he looked wider than the other guy, even though he might not actually be. Your only hope at that point is to pull like a Neckzilla, you know, or like a Phil Heath and just get big ass fucking shoulder is like crazy. I mean, okay, I think muscle can fix almost any issue. Even a condition issue, muscle
What
can
the
fix,
fuck
right?
else are you gonna do? I mean, get smaller.
We are most of us, the heavyweight bodybuilders, are fucking ugly. So we are not going to do the men's physique. That's why we choose the body.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? You know how people say like, okay, I'm gonna do classic, right? Because they think it's easier. The truth is that it's actually more dependent on your genetics and open. Because let's say Branch Warren couldn't be like, I'll just do a classic, because he couldn't, because you don't have the shape, right? So it's like classic is even more dependent on your genetics. The only thing that you could say is easier that you don't have to push the food. I don't believe in the drug thing, because I believe everybody's gonna push the drug as far as they need to, regardless of what division. But the only thing that's easier is you don't have to push the food. But if you don't have the structure for bodybuilding, you can just continue to get big until you blow everybody away in muscularity and condition. But in classic, if you don't got it, you just don't fucking got it. So
That's exactly what Justin did this year. I mean, like if you look at his comparisons, like the lineup photos from the USA's in 22, he looked small. Like, I mean, I think he'd probably agree with that. In that lineup, he looked small, but he did not this year. And he just fucking tacked on as much meat as he could everywhere he could, and it worked.
For sure, yeah.
Can that work at like the highest level? I think all of us have a ceiling somewhere, and like he's probably going to run into a ceiling eventually where like, if you're standing next to somebody who's just like super wide, it's going to be a problem. But just keep doing.
But imagine that this guy has put on like 30 pounds in 1 year.
Yeah,
So his ceiling is far from ceiling. If he's still putting the 30 pounds, he's still far from ceiling.
Well, what I said was like, I said Trevor Birch had a higher ceiling than Justin because of structure. I didn't realize Justin was 26. So I'm saying that, I'm saying that thinking Justin is like early 30s, right? So I'm like, listen, man, if he's 255 in his early 30s, how much muscle is he going to put on, right? It's still possible. Don't get me wrong, because we've seen guys in their late 30s at, fucking Samson is in his late 30s, but let's be real. Nobody's Samson, you know what I'm saying? But, so once I realized he was 26, and I'm like, I got to reconsider. I don't know if Trevor had the highest ceiling than him, because first of all, I know what Justin is willing to do mentally. I know how crazy Justin is willing to go to make the gains. And then if he's 26, bro, he's not close to his prime. So if you're still adding 22 pounds of muscle, you're not that close to your ceiling. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how hard he's gonna push it, but knowing Justin, he's gonna push that shit.
He'll push as hard as he can. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So if we talk about another 20 pounds of muscle in the next shit, he has unlimited time. But let's say in the next 5 years, if we're talking about a 275 pound Justin Wyatt, that's gonna be scary, regardless of your genetic structure. I guess people.
I mean, I still think I think they're both great bodybuilders, but I think that Trevor's ceiling is definitely. I hate to say, oh, this person's ceiling is higher than this person. You never know, but Trevor's potential for the 212 is very high.
I mean, he could be a 212 Olympia possibly. I mean, just
that's
looking off structure alone. Yeah,
exactly. Like once those legs get bigger, everything fills out. I feel like Trevor's already, we're talking about looking at the Olympia, top 7, top 8. Open is a little bit different. I don't know Justin's height, so I haven't seen him in person. We're all open.
He's close to my height.
No, he's not.
He's not close to my height.
He's like my height. Yeah. He might be a little shorter than me.
A little shorter than you?
Yeah.
Oh, Justin Wyatt or Trevor?
Yeah.
Justin
really?
Wyatt.
Yeah, they're actually pretty good. Trevor's like 5'6". I think Justin Wyatt's 5'6".
Trevor's my height. Yeah.
Wait, Justin. I don't believe you. Justin Wyatt is 5'7"?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Maybe 5'7", 5'8". Yeah, he's about the same height as me, I think. He poses up on his toes when he's doing his back shots. You ever seen that? It's kind of weird.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So is he the 5'7" on real or on the Kanevsky scale?
I looked him in the eye and I wasn't looking up or down.
Bro, but 250, bro, at that height,
yeah,
that's
a lot of muscle.
That's not a joke.
That's what I mean. That's like he's already put on a lot of muscle for that height. Like let's call a spade a spade. He's definitely can put on more just being who he is. But like
Yeah.
Trevor's got like, I don't know, 30, 40 pounds that you
Yeah,
can
but
just,
where does this muscle goes? Well, if he's
Boom.
5'6" and he's
I was
too
gonna
big
say that
for
now.
Trevor's.
That changes it for me because now I'm like, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Sean Clarita got bigger this year, but did he get better? No, he didn't. Phil Heath got bigger than 2011. Has Phil Heath been better than 2011? Maybe 2013, but anything after that, bigger wasn't better. Same with Big Ramy. I still think Big Ramy looked better visually, or at least pleasing to the eye at what 2014, 2015.
Dude, he
So
looked
bigger,
so good back then. So good.
yeah. So
I mean,
at
I
what
mean,
point? Huh?
I mean, for Trevor, like 20 pounds alone on his lower body you can already put 20 pounds on just the lower body alone.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like because he's upper, he's top heavy. So the lower, if that's continues to fill out, like the legs is where the weight comes in. So he could easily put on 20, 25 pounds just by filling out his legs. You know what I mean? I'm not saying his legs are bad, they're good, but I'm saying for symmetry wise, he's top heavy, you know.
So the issue is like I believe they both could probably add another 20 pounds of muscle, right? Only thing is that we know for a fact Trevor will look better with 20 pounds of muscle. We don't know if Justin Wyatt will actually look better with 20 pounds of muscle, right? Because like David said, what if it goes to his obliques, like what happened to Sean Clarita, right? What if it goes to the obliques, like Phil Heath, or, if it goes to the wrong places, then that's not necessarily like, God forbid it goes to Justin's lats, you know?
But though,
You
yeah,
went there, baby. You went there.
but though,
No, I got a buzz
did,
balls. I got a
did
buzz
Sean
balls.
Clarita really get bigger, or was he just because he himself admitted that he was out of shape?
Who that?
Clarida, he said himself that he wasn't in his best shape.
No, he wasn't, but like he was still harder than what's his name?
Significantly.
Than
Yeah.
Keon. Yeah, he was still harder than Keon. Like for Clarita, it wasn't his best shape. So if he was shredded, I still think he shouldn't try to be any bigger because I don't know. I just don't think he doesn't need to, Like I don't believe everybody looks better bigger. It's like the Ronnie thing. I think everybody talks about 2003, but I don't think that was Ronnie's best, man. I like 01 and I like 98. I think by 03, I think the judging criteria definitely changed by 03. But if you were going by the criteria in the 90s or in the criteria like 2010s, I don't think the judges would I like that physique. At that point it was already like people were into like just size to the point that they almost do everything out the window. So
I hate to say it too. I mean, Clarita's a Jersey guy before he moved to Texas, but realistically, look at the guys that have beat him before. He's obviously been a heavier muscularity compared to Derek and compared to Keon. So it's not an issue of he needs to get bigger. I just think unfortunately it's just structural. It's a structural limitation at this point. You know what I mean? He's trying to fill up that because he's obviously shorter. He's trying to compensate for that with a bigger muscularity, trying to outsize people and just, by being bigger densely. But he's gotten to a point where it's affecting his shape. And a guy like Keon and a guy like Derek, they don't need to be the most muscular guy. If you compare both of them in muscularity, Clarita, he makes Keon look like he just, he hasn't really put on a lot of muscle. So that's how dense Clarita is, but Keon still won. So I really don't think there's much that Sean can do at this point as much as just, keep the stomach control and then just come in a little bit tighter. And that's about it. And just leave the rest to God. You know what I mean?
I think that's the case for a lot of pros at a certain level, man. Like we as fans like to, talk and, theorize about like, oh, how's he going to show up? Does he need more of this or that or whatever? It's like when you've been doing this for like 3, 4, 5 years, you're professional bodybuilder size, you're showing up in condition consistently, and your shape is what your shape is. You don't think you've tried everything under the fucking sun at that point to fix the issues that people have pointed out about you? Because they're not stupid, this is their job. And I think you just kind of hit this kind of cruising speed as a professional where like you're placing well enough where you're like making a living, and like every once in a while you'll see a guy like Samson will break out and like bust into the top 3 or something like that. But for the most part, we all kind of, I expect to do this in the next few years. We kind of fall into this kind of cruising speed where you're like a journeyman bodybuilder. You know, it's like you kind of maxed out everything you can. If you get bigger, you look like shit. If you try and pull down harder, then you'll probably lose what has placed you well. It's like so like Ian Valliere is a great example of this. Like he was consistently like he played his game, he was big, he was super conditioned, but like he couldn't get bigger. He was only like 260 on stage, you know, huge. And being bigger wouldn't have helped him. So, you know, he's a little fuller, a little harder at this show, here, there, whatever. You can't keep it interesting. It's like you're doing your job at that point. You're showing up to work during the season. And it's weird to think about that as a fan because, like, again, we like to wonder, oh, is this guy going to break into the, you know, whatever tier at the Olympia? But I mean, he's probably going to look pretty similar, most likely.
Two best examples of what you said. Who the hell told Flex Wheeler and Phil Heath to get bigger? Once they got any bigger, they fucked up the lines.
It didn't look as good. Yeah, I mean, the only other way Stu was talking about, like you kind of get at some point your placing is your placing. If you've been placing the same and looking the same for the last 5-6 years, that's kind of where you're at, right? The only caveat is if you weren't maximizing everything, right? Now, most people who weren't maximizing everything, they're probably not going to start doing it at one point. But you have somebody like Brandon Curry, right? Who obviously wasn't maximizing anything. He was kind of just taking the kids to practice and doing like the bare minimum. I don't want to say bare minimum because I don't know what he was doing, but he was,
like, he was enjoying his life too. Like he was raising a family. Like there's value in that too. Let's not forget. Like people like get in bodybuilding forums and whatever, but like the guy's a father. He has a wife. He's got a life besides all this bullshit. So,
well, and he's always had good contracts. Remember when he turned pro? I don't believe he won that overall. I think he just won the heavyweights possibly. Oh, he did. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, right out the gate, he had a big contract with BSN, right? And he never actually lost sponsorships. He was the side tech, and he was this, that. So even though he was getting like last place at the Olympia, right? He was still making a living, right, to feed his family.
He's getting to the Olympia, dude. That is no joke.
Exactly. So once he said, you know what, let's go all out, and his wife said, you know what, let's do it, and he went to Kuwait, he turned into a whole different person because he wasn't maximizing his all. Now, that being said, I think a lot more people have the potential to do that, like Lionel Bayeki. We all know he wasn't maximizing his potential, you know. But the truth is that it's like this. If I get a client who's been overweight for the last 10 years, once they hit me up, I want to get in shape. I'm like, in my head, I already know they're probably not, because if they couldn't fix their bad habits in 10 years, what's going to make me any difference, right? So it usually the same shit happens. They come with me, they make a bunch of excuses. Oh, I can't do 30 minutes of cardio. I'm busy at work. I work 9 to 5. I'm like, what about after 5? And all these excuses come and they never get there. So usually if a bodybuilder keeps doing the same shit, they're probably going to keep doing the same shit. You know what I'm saying? So I still believe if Flex Wheeler really dug deep, he would have been Mr. Olympia. You know, same with Lionel Bayeki. I mean, that guy looked like Flex, Dexter. He looked like all the best in the world, all in one. And he just couldn't get hard enough. And it doesn't matter who's your coach.
Yeah, well, French food is really good. So
as hard, as good, because he was never in shape. And once he would have, you know, cut to the levels that these guys are, we don't know how much left of his body.
Good point.
Well, was he Nigerian too?
Nah, Bayeki's not Nigeria, bro. Chill.
Okay. Don't get butthurt. I'm just wondering.
Is it like a rule here that every guy with good genetics is Nigerian?
If man, right, Beatty?
Maybe because if you watch, like, Nigerians, they usually can get in pretty good shape. You know what I'm saying? But the other West Africans, they got the structure, but the shape is the hard part. You know. Here's my thing, though. What if this is your life, man?
There. Sorry, Kim. I didn't mean to.
Just messing with you, bro.
I feel like if this is really your life, right? Imagine getting old one day and knowing damn well that you gave 70%, and you could have had such a complete different life if you would have just tried to maximize yourself. You know, that's not a good feeling. You know, getting it wrong or missing your peak is one thing, but being 6 weeks out on stage, that's not okay. You know, that's not
I'm,
okay.
I'm really curious to know like what Beaky's career, when he was still on top, the early, like 2010 and up, and what happened. Because first off, he was the first, maybe he's not the first, but he was the only French bodybuilder at that period that was actually, in the Olympia. So like, I don't know where things fell short for him, if you know what I mean.
I
Like,
think that the Arnold Classic, when he got third in Brazil, he felt really like uh
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
good.
Yeah, I think everybody thought he should have won, and when he lost that,
yeah,
I think he gave up because he's like, everybody says if I get in shape, I'm Mr. Olympia. I finally get in shape, and then I still lose, right? And then he lost. He lost to Steve Kuklo in one show, like the Flex Pro or some shit. I can't
Yes,
remember, but he was on that show too, and everybody thought he should have won, including myself. And then he lost. So
I think
maybe
it's
he's like,
top right. Yeah, I think
uh,
it's that top right there. Yeah, I think that's the one.
so
That
then
was
it's
Arnold
like,
Classic.
yeah. So then it's like if I bring my best, I'm still losing the Arnold Brazil. So then he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna continue to half-ass it, because I'm still making Olympia. But that's how some people's mind work. I don't think any of our minds work that way, but that's how some people's minds work. Like, Kevin Levrone said the same thing. Once he realized he couldn't win the Olympia, he said, fuck it. Kevin used to have really big legs, right? And then he stopped squatting. He stopped training most of the year. You know, he's like, I mean, supposedly or allegedly, he said he spoke to Joe Weider, and Joe Weider told him that you're never going to win because we got to expand the sport. We're going to give it to Dorian. I don't know how true that conversation is. It could be true. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not. But either way, he felt like he couldn't win the Olympia. So he was positive he couldn't win. So he's like, fuck it, you know. And I mean,
I
he probably
mean,
wouldn't have won. He wasn't going to beat Dorian or Ronnie. Let's be real.
I
yeah,
think
You know.
it's real
that's
poisonous once people start throwing around the potential Mr. Olympia thing. Because, like, if you don't live up
Yeah.
to that hype, I
it's
mean,
over.
you failed, in some
Yeah,
people's eyes and maybe even your own. So, I mean, personally, that's why I try to keep expectations very low for myself. So if I don't live up to them, nobody just
yeah, no, I agree. Because I mean, look at the most recent person that plagued. It was Big Ramy. It plagued his career for 10 years before he finally won the damn thing. Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this guy he can never get in shape. Or if he came in extra condition, they said, oh, he's medium Ramy. He's not Big Ramy no more. It's like because they expect you to be the Mr. Olympia at some point. It's almost like even the judging criteria for you becomes higher than everyone else, even if you're
Yeah.
the best guy on that day. Which kind of
This
sucks.
this is a hell of a physique, man. I got to be honest with you. He looks like Dexter and Flex Wheeler at the same time.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick, huh?
Flexter.
That looks insane to me. Yeah, I mean, he had all the potential in the world. So look at his chest. But yeah, potential is just that. It's potential, man. You're gonna have to figure it out. Now, according to Dennis James, or not just Dennis James, I'm sure more people said that he just didn't have the work ethic, right? Now,
I've heard
that's not
that as
everybody's
well.
case. Yeah, that's not everybody's case. Some people work their ass off. From my understanding, Cedric did with a hard worker, and he had trouble getting in shape. Some people can work their ass off. Samson, from what I hear, is a very hard worker. Andrew, very hard worker. So you can be a hard worker and still not be 100%.
Samson
Those.
was off season, and when he came to Poland, and he still had his meals packed. It was like, he wasn't competing, he wasn't planning to compete. He still had those meals, even though he was, abroad. They woke up earlier with Marlenka, his wife, and they made all of the steak, rice, and so on. And they carried it with them. Even though they had all of the catering, they rather to have their food.
Mm-hmm. I got
I
into a
just
debate. No, go ahead.
that bothers me, when people always say like the whole work ethic thing, because in my opinion, like we're not talking about the guy that's trying to win a local show. We're talking about Olympians. So this person has to be doing, at least just in my mind, the way I look at it, this person has to be doing at least more than just a regular bodybuilder to even get there. Now, can they be better? Yes, maybe they could work a little bit harder. But to me, it just seems I find it hard. I find it hard to believe when people say something like, "Oh, like you would hear it all the time, like, oh, maybe like Flex Wheeler, he was lazy, he didn't train hard, or this and that." I mean, can we really believe that? I mean, the guy came third and second all the way into the Olympia.
Yeah, I actually do. When
you really do?
I do believe it too. I'm not gonna lie. Just from what I hear, like from Gold's Venice and like Chris Cormier and his friends.
Cormier said himself that once Flex said like he wasn't aware of his kidneys, that's why he couldn't dry out, and Cormier was like, "Yeah, but your kidneys didn't took you to a fucking McDonald's." It was on podcast, so
I think it kind of depends on your environment. Like if you're hanging out at Gold's Gym in the late '90s and you're the shit, like you're placing top of the Olympia,
you're winning anyways.
Pussies just raining all over you, a ton of distractions, drugs, partying. I mean, like I could see how you could slip into that.
I'm gonna put one caveat there though. Even if he was doing McDonald's, all these guys were being coached by Chad during that period, and we know how Chad trained
McDonald's. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. So like people don't take it into context. Their diets were when they were low,
difficult,
they were extremely low.
I remember Chad talking about coaching Flex, and he was like, he knew he would cheat every 4 to 6 days, so he would just kill him.
Kill him.
Then
just
like,
kill him.
Okay, he's gonna go fuck up, and then we'll reset and do this again. And
he would put him on like zero carbs because he knew that think about it. He's trying to balance it out. Same with Ronnie and the barbecue sauce. He knew that Ronnie was gonna get 80 carbs a day from barbecue sauce, so he would factor that in the diet. That's what makes a good coach. You have to know your clients, because if you just send him things and expect them to do it, bro, most clients, not like you guys, most of my clients at least, they're following like 70, 80%. If I could get my client to 85, 90%, they usually win. But for the most part, I know if I say, okay, I don't want through 10, how close did you adhere? If they say 10, they're probably like a 6 because they're lying their ass off. You know what I'm saying? And then after the show, they'll be like, okay, I didn't do the cardio, I did this. Now, there's people whose genetics are so good that they still fucking win anyways. But we're talking about the amateur level. As a pro, if you're following 70%, you're going to be hard pressed to you know what I'm saying? Okay, now, Flex probably thought he was following 70%, but Chad already factored it in. So was Flex cheating? Yes. Was Flex training as hard as Chris Cormier or Ronnie? No. But like Ken said, there's a level of work that goes into it. He was still suffering for 4 to 5 days. Now, would he bullshit on the 5th and 6th day? Yeah. But he wasn't going to, listen, you're not winning a pro show in the 90s if you didn't know how to work hard to a point. Not perfect. Yeah.
That's exactly what I mean. Like, the 90s was the era of conditioning. So obviously he wasn't the most conditioned person.
Oh, we can argue about this.
That's what they say.
We can have that debate.
That's what they say. That's what
they. Well, okay.
David, be careful. Be very careful.
Dexter Jackson said it the best, because Dexter is the only one who competed in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and 2020. So he knows firsthand who's who. He was talking about size. He said, listen, the guys now are by far bigger. I don't want to hear the Kevin is bigger than Phil, or these guys are bigger. You've never had this much 200, 300-pound bodybuilders, 260, 270. The guys are bigger. We all know that. Now, he was like, the looks have changed. In the 90s, you could be diuretic up and be shredded and flat, and you could win. We all know damn well if you come in, I mean, Roman Frist was doing it, and he wasn't winning anything until he started coming in full. So he's like, what changes that? Now you have to be shredded, but you also have to be bursting full. Now, when you're bursting full, you're not going to have Bumstead lines, because Bumstead isn't bursting full, because he doesn't have to be for Classic. But if you're going to be bursting full like Hadi, Samson, Derek, you're not going to have certain lines in your Christmas tree that guys had in the 90s, because they could be on the flatter side. Like if you look at the 98 Olympia, Ronnie wasn't bursting full. Flex wasn't bursting full. They were like 60%. That was a look back then. Now, as time went on, you can't do that anymore. If you come in on the flat side, you're just gonna get overwhelmed. You know what I'm saying? If Stu, if you come in flat on stage, you think you're gonna win the New York Pro, you're gonna have to be burst.
My look just falls apart if I'm flat. So like I gotta be at least a 75 plus. I was more like a 90 or 95 at the New York.
Yeah,
I want to try and shoot for more like 75-ish this time. See if it looks well.
A good example is Adi. Adi's the perfect example of that. You know what I mean?
He was coming in shredded, and he wasn't winning anything.
Maybe maybe that's why he didn't hear, because he was overcarved and he just had high blood pressure.
I thought he didn't hear that they were taking pictures. No, but I mean it's true. So just because it's a different look doesn't mean guys are in shape. I believe guys are just as conditioned. They're just so bursting full that the look is different. That's why you can see shredded. Listen, if you have peeled glutes like Derek, you're in shape. Trust me. You're. I haven't seen anybody with glutes like Derek. But the Christmas tree, or maybe the abs might be a little bit watered down because you're so fucking full of food. You know what I'm saying? So it's a different look. If you come in 90s condition, you're not gonna do well today because they're gonna be like, well, you're 230 pounds at 5'11". That's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? So that's basically what I did at USA. Is I'm a super. So I'm gonna be so peeled that they're gonna be like, oh, this guy is different. And I just look small. I was just as heavy. I might have been the heaviest guy. But I think I was. Janicki told me he was like 245. I was 245. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but I look small as fuck because I was flat. So you have to bring both. You can't just be shredded, And I know Janicki's coach purposely, but I saw Janicki get even leaner than that. But his coach was able to look at him and be like, okay, you're losing your legs, you're losing this. We got to bring you in bigger. And same happened to Compton and Joe. Joe was gonna do heavies, and then Compton's like, I don't like this look. We're gonna feed you up. Fuck it, do the super heavies, and Joe won. So it's a balance, bro. This is not the 90s. That's why you can't compare. I don't like the comparisons in generations personally.
I just think I just think that in any sport, right? The sport continues to progress. So obviously Arnold was the greatest in his day, right? But can you really say if you put Arnold's physique next to even the 90s, right? They were bigger all around. So, but you can't say that Arnold for his day, he wasn't the greatest bodybuilder of his, his era at that time. So it's the same thing. Sometimes I just feel like there's a little bit of nostalgia that comes with it. You see those 90s videos, and the thing is like it's so like the clarity is like to like 120%. So everyone just looks peeled on those videos. You know what I mean? Like
they add so much grain though. Like you see these these old videos that Milos and like Chris Cormier pose, bro. It's so like grainy. That's like, bro, that's not a regular camera. It's so detailed and grainy. I'm like, you can tell it wasn't just normally filled. They added that on there. So I'm like, that's not a fair comparison.
Yeah, because when those videos get converted, right? Because they were all like VHS tapes. Once they get converted, and it's kind of stretched out, so people look bigger too, which is also another thing. But like, I don't know. I just feel like that coupled with a little bit of nostalgia, then you have people really believing that they're a separate being compared to the guys that are in the Olympia lineups today, which I completely disagree with.
And then you can't take one guy. Like I saw a post. It was probably who is the best BB. I'm assuming it was them. It was like Dorian's back. Then you got Hadi. Then you got Derek. And then it was somebody else. I can't remember. But I'm like, you're taking literally like the GOAT, a 6-time Olympian, and comparing like at his prime and comparing it to guys who are like early 30s who have literally just started being good bodybuilders. Like, or same way how they would take Ronnie and then compare it to. You can't take the GOAT and say this generation is better because the GOAT is better than these guys. You have to compare you know what I'm saying? You have to compare the same thing. So you can compare Ronnie and Phil. That's a fair comparison now because they both done their thing and we've seen the best and the worst. But when you take a GOAT and say that one person makes that generation better, it's like, that's not true. What about 10th place? Do I even know who the fuck was 10th place when Dorian was competing? I probably don't. So the whole 90s being more shredded, that's not a fair argument. Dorian himself, is he more shredded than guys today? I would say so. Maybe Heidi's best of all time is the same as Dorian. But is Dorian by himself more shredded than this lineup? I would say so. But if that entire lineup more shredded than guys these days, not even close. Because we don't even know.
I'm not sure his look would really look that impressive in a lineup nowadays. Because
I don't think so.
Like he talks about it all the time. He was always
He was
on the
flat.
flatter side when he showed up, which is why he had that level of detail and stuff. But like, I mean, like the width, he didn't have a ton of width to him. He was very dense and striated in his back, but like he didn't have quad flare because of the way that he posed. He didn't have a ton of lat width coming out. He didn't have his terries or anything. His arms were okay. If you compare that to like Derek Lunsford, who just won this year, I mean, I think he fucking mops him in that shot, with the exception of his lower back. That's about it.
Yeah, but you can't say that, because if you say that, people go crazy with the nostalgia.
I know. I shouldn't have said shit, but
what I will say,
I'm looking at Stu just mouthing off, just saying Dorian, Derek Moss, Dorian. I'm just looking at you.
Everything goes wrong when I talk.
No, but me personally, I think Dorian had good width personally. I don't think he had the muscle bellies and roundness.
Yeah.
He didn't have the flare in his quads. He didn't have the listen. You can't. I'm sorry, but you're not gonna win Mr. Olympia today off of just condition and back. You're gonna have to have quad sweep. You're gonna have to have good arms. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to have everything, all the bells and whistles. You can't just say I have a big back and I'm shredded. Like, dude, everything has to be there.
Arms are so important nowadays.
Yeah.
It's a different time. I'll say this too, Bitey. But what you were saying about the person's actual career, right, from start to finish, you can judge Ronnie and Phil, but you can't judge a guy like Derek. So I remember when Phil was having his Olympia reign, and people were saying the same thing, right? People were like, "Oh, this Olympia is weak, blah blah blah." Phil wasn't that good. Now Phil's career has been completed. People can look back now and say, "Wow, after Ronnie, I think Phil is actually the GOAT." Right? Like, I don't think anyone disputes that in terms of just his physique as a bodybuilder. Ronnie's probably the only one that I would say is ahead of Phil, and it's debatable. We've had that conversation before.
Can we please not have it again?
But why is it always that the older guys criticize so hard you guys, and in the other directions you're always so respectful? Why is it always like most of them, there are people like Milos, and there is like Danny James, and the others basically shit on the new generation. They're like, yeah, we were bigger, we were more sharp, No, you weren't.
Well, it's not true.
They gotta stay relevant, dude. I mean,
bro, like when I watch RX, right? I do like RX. Like, don't get me wrong, I watch all this shit. I like Sid. Sid Farigi is dope.
I fucking love him.
Shout out to Sid. Shout out to Sid, bro.
But like, we all grew up on RX Muscle, so we love RX Muscle. My thing is, sometimes they get carried away in the nostalgia. Anytime they bring up anybody, he would dust anybody. Like, they'll bring up, like, I don't know, like a random nationals champ. This guy, he would win every nationals now. It's like, I'm looking at him like, why? Because he had a big chest. Like, what are we talking about? You can't just because this guy was so good at your time doesn't mean he'll smoke everybody, for the rest of history. So, who they were talking about somebody recently. I'm trying to remember.
Who, Trevor or Bumstead? Is that what you're trying to reference?
No, I was talking about like a bodybuilder, but I mean just in general, right? Like they'll say Dorian would wipe the floor with all these guys today, right? And it's like, based off of what? Like, you have to see him in person. You have to see everybody in person. Like, the way Derek looks on camera is not how he looks in person. They all look way better in person. You know what I'm saying?
And I think too, like, the reason why they always say that, and I do agree to a point where they talk about, in the 90s when people turned pro, they were ready to go into the pro ranks and go to the Olympia. But there was a reason for that, right? There was a bottleneck where, David, you're probably experiencing that in Poland, which was what was happening here, was there was one pro card that was so you would have everyone trying to get into the pro ranks with this one pro card. But the caveat to that as well was, when you did turn pro, there was financial incentive. You had the magazine contracts. You had media coverage. So once you turned pro, there was a guarantee of making money as a pro. Now, today's timeline, people turn pro a little bit quicker, but that's also been cut off. So to me, it just equalizes. You know what I mean? Like why would you? Because they always say the argument is that, oh, it should be back like the 90s where one person turns pro for the whole fucking year, right? So if I spent 6 years of my life trying to turn pro, and I get to the other side and there's nothing waiting for me, right? Just nothing. I mean, it's gonna kill the sport, in my opinion.
But how many people competed back then?
Dude, maybe like 30.
It's a good
maybe
question.
like 30.
And how many people got qualified? They got qualified for taking third or even fifth place in some shows.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting question. Like, how many people were in each class at the nationals back in the day? Because, like, at one point they didn't even have a super heavyweight class. It was just like 225 up.
Yeah,
it was just above 200 pounds was like the heavyweights, and that was it.
I don't know.
It couldn't be more than 40 guys. It couldn't be more than 50 guys. It couldn't be more than 50 guys, in my opinion.
They were all pretty good, but
yeah,
I don't know for sure, but I would from what people say, it was stacked, but they say that about everything. Everything is stacked. Everything is stacked. You know, back then everything was just so much better. You know, like to say like Sean Ray would win the Olympia today or Kevin Lavoni would win today. It's like, no, they wouldn't. I'm sorry, but they're great, but they just wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a certain level. Like Lavoni in his prime, he wasn't bringing in like crazy shredded glutes and stuff like that. And it's just like the back shots as well. Listen, bro, it's easy to say these things till you stand up on stage with these guys and be like, holy fuck, these guys are huge, these guys are fucking shredded. It's easy to say, I would have, anybody could say that, you know, back in my days, I would have done this and done this, beat them up and all this shit. But until you're actually up there and Samson, Dorian was like, Samson looks like he's 250. And I'm like, what show are you watching, bro? Like, we're 250s in the amateur ranks.
This is
so
just,
what are you
this is just
about?
a, carryover from everything else that boomers do to us as younger guys. like, oh, if you just worked harder, you could afford a house already. Like I did when I was 22 years old. Shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah, the houses back then were like 5 times cheaper.
Yeah, they were like five pennies or something. Like
50 grand for a fucking mansion.
Yeah.
But speaking of RX Muscle, let me pull up the quote of the year.
Speaking of boomers.
Yeah, they fucked up big.
But yo, I was watching that episode and I was kind of cringing listening to it because you can tell that, okay, some people think he did it for attention. I don't think he did it for attention. I think he honestly doesn't believe that Bumstead is that popular because he doesn't have anybody, like his kids are super young, right? So they're not old enough for them to be like, bro, Bumstead. So he doesn't understand. He obviously knows Bumstead is famous, but I think he honestly believed that his followers might be fake, you know? He's like, why doesn't he have Versace contracts? Why the fuck would Versace won a bodybuilder, first of all? And how do we know he doesn't? How do we know who's DMing? We don't know who he's turning down. We have no idea. Bro, like I said.
My opinion with the whole thing too is just look at who they're using to measure success, right?
You like Jay.
And Jay is great. Jay is one of the greatest bodybuilders to ever do it, but it's not. Jay's last competition was 2009. You know what I mean?
And we're thinking small. We're thinking about bodybuilders. Bumstead is, most of his followers are not bodybuilders. They don't care about Miss Olympia. They don't even know what a bodybuilder is, some of them.
Right.
So it's not the same metric. So I just think he's so far removed from that he doesn't understand what that means today. Like I was saying, like in the DMs, right? Literally, you have Kai Cenat, a fucking streamer, making more than pro athletes. So you can say, why doesn't he have a contract with Nike and Gatorade? Because he's making more money than them. So I don't think he understands how much money Bumstead makes. You think Bumstead needs a fucking Nike contract or Gatorade contract or Diet Coke contract? You're crazy. Bro, he's making so much money. You wouldn't believe it if he told you. Like, I think I have an idea, and I'm probably way off. Like, he makes so much money, you would be shocked. You know, from YouTube alone, it doesn't. We can't even fathom what he makes. So to think that he needs like a mainstream contract to make him successful is just not a, you know, it's just not what goes on these days. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I personally know trainers who have Nike contract. That means nothing. Okay, you get paid. I don't know. Yeah, like what, you know what I'm saying? Like we talking about like
look,
it's it's like
look at that third comment.
huh?
Look at that third comment on the screen right there.
Oh, let me see.
Or whoever that is.
Oh, I hear Chandler.
Yeah, look at the third comment of what she said.
She looks like she has a good relationship with her father.
He said,
I know.
she knows
I know
girls.
Chandler actually.
Shit.
No, I do.
But
I'm not
you
gonna
see,
say
like,
anything.
it's not even just the little boys at the gym, right? Like, she's talking about, she's saying she knows girls who know Bumstead that don't
For
even know
sure.
bodybuilding. So
People don't get one thing, that the Instagram algorithm doesn't work like they actually imagine. Because, for example, he said some shit like he doesn't have as many. I mean, Angelina Jolie doesn't have as many views. Yeah, but when you go to reels of Cbum, his reels have like 100 millions of views,
Boom.
while Angelina's got like three.
Engagement, bro. But Cbum gets more engagement than some of The Rock's videos. We're talking about The
Yeah.
Rock. You know what I'm saying? The Rock can post a video and not get 3 million fucking likes. He's not even getting that. Bumstead can post a photo of him fucking, I don't know, in a grocery store and get 2-3 million likes. You know what I'm saying? We're not even talking about views, you know? So it's like the engagement is actually, it doesn't even prove that he has 22 million. It proves that he should have more followers than that, actually. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Not all
it's easy
followers
to.
are created equal. I think there's fans who know you exist, and then there's invested fans who watch your YouTube videos and buy your T-shirts and your energy
Yeah.
drink. And that's another thing to keep in mind here is like he's kind of stuck in this old, in many ways, he's stuck in this old mindset where like you get sponsored, you're not necessarily starting your own business. And the reason why Jay has a shitload of money is nowadays, like we know who Jay is, we're fans of Jay. Like we might buy his pre-workout, some bodybuilding fans might, but like he's probably not selling products like Cbum is. He's
He's
making
not.
a lot of his money from a real estate empire, which is, I mean, and so is Chris Aceto here. So
Yeah.
he's a real estate guy too, and that's stuff that you don't see. I'll bet he sells way less clothes with with his codes and so forth than Chris does. Not
Well,
just
Jay,
because he has not just because he has
bro,
those followers, but like
it's not even comparable.
yeah.
It's a completely different scale.
But
It's nowhere in the
the
same
other
ballfield.
thing important to think about is like, let's say, for the sake of argument, Chris takes a deal with Diet Coke or whatever. That means he can't have his own competitive brand that he owns. Because,
Exactly.
dude, he's a part owner in Raw and Revive. He owns his Cbum fucking energy drink thing, right? He sells his own T-shirts. He's not marketing for someone else and only getting a small sliver of the profit from that product. He's getting all of the profit from that product. So why would you put a middleman in there, another company that's taking advantage of your marketing when you could just go direct to consumer? And that's what he's doing. Just cut out all the bullshit and you make more money. And
Where
add that to the invested followers, and you're like,
yeah,
boom.
a lot of this on screen is just dated. It's just dated ideology.
Instagram is as well the platform of the young people that they don't understand.
yeah.
It's
They,
like, most of people who are on Instagram are like 15 to 30 max. They're not old force.
I mean, I've told you guys the story, right? I mean, I went to Gold's Gym here in Bridgewater, Guy's sister Nino's gym. He trained in that gym from his whole entire career as an amateur all the way to the Olympia. They didn't even know what the guy at the front desk didn't even know bodybuilding was a division. He only knew classic physique, and he only knew who Bumstead was. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think people realize that the regular guy who's not following bodybuilding or going on Instagram, even people that are going to the gym that think they want to compete. They're not saying, "Oh, I want to compete in bodybuilding." They're saying, I want to look like Bumstead. I want to do classic physique. That's the only thing that they know. You know, it's like, it's almost like Bumstead has merged that, you know, do you remember Ziz? The whole Ziz culture? You know, it's like he's merged that with the actual fitness and competing. So a lot of these kids that maybe don't even have any interest in competing at all, they just want to look good. He is that model. He's that idol for them, you know?
Well, and one thing that always, at least it used to irk me, was that the idea that once you become a bodybuilder, you can only make money from sponsors and supplements, right? Or like clothing, right? Just because we're
Like selling
bodybuilders,
drugs.
yeah. Just because
I don't have to say it now. Thank you.
but just because you're a bodybuilder doesn't mean all of a sudden you're limited to that. If you're as rich as Chris, or even not as rich as Chris, you still can do any other business that anybody else can do. Like he said about real estate with Jay Cutler. We don't know, like Ian makes a lot of his money outside of bodybuilding, right? So it's like we don't think about, okay, these guys own properties, these guys rent Airbnbs, you know what I'm saying? These guys have other businesses that we have no idea of. So we just assume that if they don't have this, they're not making money. Me and my boy have we do like a security, right? We staff security, and I get paid not having to do shit. I just text bodybuilder, hey, go work at this way, go, and I make money doing that. But unless I say it, you wouldn't know that. You'd be like, oh, Beatty must just sell fentanyl, you know what I'm saying? So
Beatty runs a team of enforcers, is what he's saying.
You know what I'm saying? but also I have a business mind, right? I'm always thinking about how can I make more money so that I can be chilling. You know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't think about that, but if I had Chris Bumstead's money, I would do so much shit with my money just because I'm not just thinking, you know, what I think is that I should be able to make money without my body. Without me being muscular, I should still be able to make the same money. That's how I think. So we can't just assume that Bumstead is just a bodybuilder, meathead that can only sell energy drinks. You know what I'm saying? So we don't know what the fuck offers he gets. We don't know what he does outside of the bodybuilding industry. All I know is that he's very successful, he's very rich, and he doesn't need fucking Diet Coke or any of that shit. So I don't know, but
First thing that gets into your eyes, look how all of the rich people clothed. They don't wear the, you know, like the most costly clothes. Look at the Elon, look at the Cbum. So he wears like the same shit every day. They don't care to, you know, like be sparkling and so on.
They don't give a fuck. That's how you know when somebody's rich. The richest person in the room isn't the one flossing.
Even the Sam Sulek, look, he wears the shittest clothes every day, and I heard that he makes loads of money.
That's his uniform, man.
Yeah. I mean, he makes a shit ton. Same with him. He doesn't need a sponsor. All he needs to do at this point, I mean, he doesn't even need to do it, but if he's thinking long term, he needs to monetize it in other ways besides YouTube, because that YouTube money can be fleeting. You know what I'm saying? But the amount of money he's making on YouTube, he honestly, people say $100K a month. I think he's making double that, easy double
He's
that.
making more than $1 million a year.
But because they're not thinking about the old videos are getting views too. So they're like, well, if he's averaging 1 million views a day on the new videos, what about the fucking other fucking thousands of videos he's got? Those are adding up too. Because I look at my algorithm, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm earning this much, but then people are going back and watching my videos from 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So he's making way more than 100 grand a month. And if you do the math, that guy is a multi-millionaire. He, you know, just only off of YouTube. We don't know what his hostile contract is. I would assume he's the highest paid by now because, I mean, he's Sam Sulek. If he's not, he probably doesn't even care about the contract. You know, once he has to just be careful that people don't think he's a commercial, because if he starts to overdo it, you know, then, you know, but he definitely needs to monetize in other ways. Just that if something happens with YouTube or he gets an injury or something like that, you know, knowing him, even if he's injured, people would watch him in recovery. You know, watch him in the fucking hospital getting surgery and shit. But
on social media, I mean, Social Blade, it says that he's making at least 910K yearly.
My only problem with the whole, to take it back to Cbum, this is the only thing that irks me, and I don't know why this question keeps being asked, is when people ask that, oh, when is he going to do an open show? It's like, I mean, let me ask the room first of all. Let's be completely honest. If Cbum was to do an open show, and let's say he put 10 pounds, maybe like 10 pounds on his physique, do you guys actually foresee him being, top 10 at the Olympia? Just
Yeah.
Wait, either 10
Top
pounds?
10, yeah. Top 10, yes.
10 pounds will
No.
put him at 10 pounds will put him at 250-ish.
Mhm.
Okay, can he be like the Tonio?
No.
Why do you think so?
I don't think he would do that well.
Okay,
Like-
can he be Brandao?
I think so. I think.
Yeah, maybe.
With
Yeah,
10
so
pounds.
to some
Okay,
extent.
let's scale it. Randall is about 240, bro, at 5'11", 6 feet. If Chris is 6'1", at 250, he would match him in size. I think he beats Randall personally. We're not talking about Chris right now. He said 10 pounds.
Mhm.
I think with 10 pounds.
I still don't think so, because let me say why. There's the metrics in classic, there's some metrics that just don't work in bodybuilding. So for example, the arms. Stu just mentioned that, like, I don't know, 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's
Arms
the biggest
matter.
thing, bro.
Arms matter, bro. Like,
Yeah, but still, that's 10th place towards the first. 10th place
Yeah.
doesn't mean shit.
dude, 10th place is still good, man. 10th
Yeah,
place
it is great, it is greater than most of us will ever take, but it's still in comparison to being a Mr. Olympia Classic for the 6th time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, my whole point I'm trying to make, right, is people make this argument that, oh, Chris should do an open show. He can fight for the Olympia title.
No.
About 10th place here.
No.
Smoking
and
rocks.
it's like, sometimes I just feel like bodybuilding fans, they need to be realistic as well.
No, for sure.
It's like obviously people see him as this, I don't know, this god that he can never lose.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's a clear difference between open and classic. Even Chris has said it himself. Like,
Chris,
I have
Chris
to
is smart. He
think
knows that.
Yeah, I have to think that
Chris
if
knows.
I was in his shoes, every time someone asked me that question, I'd probably just die inside of just like anger, because it's like, how many times does he have to say it that he's probably not thinking of doing it? Maybe it'll be at the end of his career. Every interview he does, that same question always comes up. It's like, guys, like, why put the guy's health at more risk?
It's the guys who don't get it. It's the guys who like
Yeah.
Dave, I hate to say, but like who only view the lens through the lens of open and 20 years ago. Because
Sean-
But I don't think that the real bodybuilders fans are going to say like he can win Olympia. Those only who want the clickbaits are going to, but because every person, even Ian, said that he cannot win the Mr. Olympia.
Sean Ray said that he could. I think Sean Ray is maybe a little nostalgic. I think he wants that physique to win, but just because you want it to, like, we would love for Bumstead to win too. Like, I mean, we like Bumstead, but he just wouldn't. He just wouldn't. Now, could he place top 10? I think I think people think that the physique he brings right now would get like top 6. I don't think the physique he brings right now would get top 10. Now, if he grows into it, if he takes 2 years off and comes back, I think he'll place top 10. But any higher than that is going to be difficult. Now, this year, we had like 5 guys or 6 guys that from the top 10 not here. So with this lineup, can he beat, Tonio? Maybe, I don't know if he's bigger. But with everybody in there, with Ramy back and Bonac back and Nick Walker back and Brandao back and all these guys back, would he place top 10 even with 20 pounds? It's going to be tough, but possibly, but like David said, top 10 versus the first place. Who's competing to get 10th place after you just been a 5-time champ? It doesn't make sense. And why can't you just be the best in your division? If you're the best player in the WNBA, do you have to play in the NBA to prove yourself? I don't think so. How come you can't just be the best in the WNBA? Not to call like plastic physique like women.
I feel like he would honestly kill his brand. Like, if he actually, let's say, like at the end of the whole Olympia thing, he was like, all right, you know what, I'm gonna make a run for the Open just one last time. I actually feel that would do more damage to his brand and his legacy than everything he's built to that point.
I think so. Because some of these people actually believe that. They really believe that he could win. They posted a picture of who is the best bodybuilder, right? It was was it Hunter and it was a classic guy against the open guy. And I'm looking at the comments and they're like, oh yeah, he would win. I'm like, these guys, like, they let their favorites like come before their brain. It's like, no, he wouldn't. Like,
They just don't know
it's
what
not
they're
even,
looking at, man.
But
like, look
looking at
at
the photo, you're looking like at the flat cardboard. You're looking on the
exactly.
front and then put them side by side and do a quarter turn. And that's
Boom.
all that's needed. They're going
Yeah.
to expose
100%.
them so hard when it comes to the thickness.
Well, because they're like, well, all he's losing to his size. Exactly. Like,
It's
if
bodybuilding. It's kind of
that's the thing.
important.
Bro, same way we could take a men's physique guy right now, and you're like, bro, he has a crazy physique. That doesn't mean he's gonna be the open guy. Like, you could even say like that physique is more is better to look at. Like, that's a more what's the word I'm looking for?
I
Like
please.
huh? Exactly, more pleasing physique. And everybody would agree, oh, that's a way better pleasing physique than Hottie. But he can't stand next to Hottie. Like, if that's the case, then there would be no Open and Classic. All these guys would just win the Open. It doesn't work that way. There's guys I see in the gym. I'm like, that's a crazy. Like, one of my training partners, Nate. He's like 170. I think he has a crazy physique. More pleasing than anybody I know. But he's not beating these guys in a bodybuilding show. Now I told him with 30, 40 pounds, he will. But right now he just won't. So you can't, like, favoritism. Like, just because I like Stu or like Ken doesn't mean if you guys lose to.
Thanks, baby.
Let's say if you guys lose to Nexzilla, I'm not gonna be like, oh man, you guys should have beat him. I'm gonna be like, listen, man,
I think for me, because that's gonna happen.
No, I'm definitely gonna pull for you. But if you lose fair and square, I'm gonna be like, yeah, he had you in the quads. Well, he got everybody in the quads. Yeah, he's beating you in the neck. He's beating you in the quads.
That's
he was just overwhelming. Like let's all be real. Like, you guys aren't gonna tell me, oh, you should have beat Joe at the USA's. No, I shouldn't. Like, what are you talking about? So it's like you can still like me and look and be like, okay, this guy is better right now. It doesn't mean you can never beat him, but right now it is what it is.
We just need something to talk about, man. This sport gets boring sometimes, and like
so let's
David
make it
said,
interesting.
clickbaity.
So should Nick get a special invite?
Chris?
Okay. Should is a different word than like it's like, okay, does he deserve one or should he? I don't know if that's the way you say it. I don't think anybody deserves anything, but if they give it to him, I think I'm completely fine with that, personally.
Well, if they gave it to him, I think that would imply that they're going to place him well, because I think if you're a judge and you're looking at this like objectively, you've seen Chris, you've seen the Open guys, you're like, okay, this guy is not going to be in the mix here realistically because of the density and the muscularity difference. It's just too big to surmount.
But think about it. Derek got a special invite. He did nothing to earn. I mean, he did win 212, but
yeah, that's bodybuilding though. That's a different thing. I don't disagree with that. But the fact that he deservedly placed second his first year after the special invite. Fucking Ramy won when he got his special invite. So they cashed the check, so to speak.
Does this, the guest posing, doesn't it take away a little bit from the chances of getting the special invite, as Nick wasn't looking as he is incapable to compete?
No, but we don't know the gravity of the situation. So I'm not going to say that, like, because he showed up in that guest posing, you have to look at it from an athlete's perspective too. He wants to show at least what he could have looked like, right? To some degree. Like, it's still a business. So I'm never going to put that against him. Now, when we're talking about an actual special invite, the way I look at it is two ways. I'm not against it if they give it to Nick, because personally I think that he can win any show that he goes into during the season. The only difference or the only problem I have with special invites is that it puts that person at an advantage, right? Yeah. So you're basically almost like an Olympia winner. The advantage of being the winner is you don't have to compete for the whole year. You can let your body rest and you can train for one show. Now you give a special invite, that person ideally in a logical sense has the same advantage as the Olympia winner. And if you're a top 3 at the Olympia, a perennial top 3, that means that you're fighting for the title coming into that next show. So that's the only place where I feel bad for the other guys who are in the Olympia that'll be fighting for 2024. So let's give an example, like a guy like Samson, for example, right? Samson is going to do, the Arnold and then go on to the Olympia. Now, whatever, it's better for him to compete more. That's the consensus. But let's say he was a guy that he actually looks worse the more he competes over the year. Putting a guy like Nick, give him a full special invite, he's going to blow him out once Olympia time comes through. So that's the only way. Me personally, I think that they should just kill the whole thing, because the last 2 winners of the Olympia have gotten special invites, and that should tell you something.
Bro, okay. One thing I will say, Derek getting that special invite was a huge advantage. You know why? Derek is the only Olympia champion to never win a open pro show. He's never won an open pro show. Think about that.
Probably never will. Yeah.
Exactly. Think about it. He never won a pro show and never will.
That's fucking crazy.
That sounds crazy. He's only done 2 open shows, the Olympia and the Olympia, and he got second and first. That's crazy. Like, you would think that most people, like, after the fact, probably would have thought, like, okay, we probably should have made him at least have to win 1 pro show, because that's a crazy stat. It probably would never happen again. Never winning an open pro show and winning the Olympia is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So now with Nick, the fact that he dieted for the whole Olympia and didn't get to compete, I think that's what makes it a little different, because he doesn't really get a huge advantage. Because can we all agree that he would have got top 3? I think he beat Samson for sure.
Yeah.
The way he was looking. So if he would have got top 3, he would have just been at the same advantage that he's going to get now anyways. So almost nothing would have changed besides him tearing his hamstring. So I think because of the circumstances, it makes it kind of fair, because we all can, rightfully assume that he would have been top 3. You know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't be mad about it, but I tell you what, I do want him to compete. I want to see him on stage. Like, let us, shit tier pros take a crack at people, just stand next to them, because we're not going to get to do that at the Olympia.
Yeah. Bitey, another thing too is this is not the Ronnie Coleman or Phil Heath era. The line between competitors is so short. It's so small that when you give someone that advantage, it's 2 or 3 places ahead already.
It's too much of an advantage.
It's so much of an advantage at this point. That's the only thing I about that.
Listen, man. If you really want to make it fair, like you just said, and like Ian said, there just should be no advantages. It's like, imagine if I'm a really good amateur, and they're like, you know what? He gets a special invite to the USAs, and I could just take my sweet time and do no qualifications to come into the USAs. That gives me a huge advantage over these other guys, which, why should I get it? It's almost like, I remember Ian, I think Ian said, even the champ shouldn't get a special invite. He said everybody should have to qualify, because but if we're being real, in the history, people continue to win the Olympia title because they don't have to do anything else, right? What if you made, in basketball, when you win the championship, do you just qualify for the finals? No, they bring the Lakers right back, they bring the Warriors right back, and then now you get to see who was better that year, not who was better. Who was the champion last year almost doesn't matter. Should it matter? Like, should you get that respect, or should it be like, who's the best bodybuilder this year? We don't care who won last year. This year, who's the best?
Bitey, just look at the trend of bodybuilding. It used to be top 5 in the 90s. Yeah. Just look at the trend. The top 5 was a gate. It was a gatekeep. It was a gatekeep. They still competed, but it wasn't. They would do the Euro tours, right? They weren't competing all the way at the end of the year. They would do after the Olympia, do the Euro tours and rest up. The top 5. You always see within each year or within each era, the top 5 are in our era, the top 3 now. They're always different from the rest of the crowd. And there's a reason for that. Like, let's be honest. There's a reason for that.
They get a full year. Like, low key. Okay, imagine how much titles the Golden State Warriors would have if they just qualified for the finals and could sell out the regular season.
And it's not just
they would have 20.
It's not just 1 year. Think of someone that comes second for 2 years in a row.
Oh,
That's
yeah, you're right.
2 full years
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you get versus someone who's duking it out every single month.
I didn't think about that. Also,
Qualification.
technically, it would be like, imagine if LeBron had a lifetime qualifications to the finals, and LeBron could just wait for the finals. LeBron would have 20 championships. Like,
Yeah.
should
But
you
what
have
if
it?
he couldn't, compete because it's way different sport than bodybuilding because he doesn't really have to diet this hard. He doesn't have to, it doesn't work the same.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have a
but
full, basically 6 to 8 months of off season, whether it's football, basketball, where they're not playing games.
yeah,
They're
okay,
working out and shit.
but here's the thing: did you play football, Ken?
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say too. Yeah, I did, but I think what you're trying to say is wear and tear on the body, right? So over the season,
That's
if
what I'm
someone's
saying.
playing the whole season, they could potentially get injured during the season, right? By the time you
You
get
see
to
my
the
point?
playoffs, you're tired. You're
What,
tired.
what,
Who's already, and it's not the same like for performance for bodybuilding, but the
yeah,
body is the body, right? And for
yeah.
us, we're doing a lot more abuse to that body. You know what I
When I,
mean?
okay, but when I talk to bodybuilders who never played like high level sports, right? I think that the consensus is that bodybuilders work harder than everybody. I think bodybuilders have more discipline. But here, if you try to get through a regular season of basketball or football, you probably wouldn't be able to do it. It's different, but the wear and tear on your body, I think, is worse. Actually, you know what I'm saying? Long term, maybe not, but because we still lifted weights. I trained just as hard when I played football, but now I gotta go run laps and laps and take. You know how these hits feel, bro? I'm taking hits, bro. So
Yeah.
it's easy to say, well, they don't have to. Yeah, but it's still a crazy toll on the body. If I could avoid that and come fresh to the championship game, I will be the best player in the world in football. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of toll. I don't think it takes a toll on your insides as much. And then eating a clean diet, I think is better for you because I was eating like shit when I played football, and I think that was worse on my recovery. I didn't recover
But
better
still,
because I was.
it's not a one person sport. It's a team sport. If you don't know how to communicate with your team and you just, get like one person who is able to play this one game, he's probably going to be shit towards to his team.
Yeah, I don't understand. You mean like toward?
Because what you said, it's like LeBron is the only guy who is outside of the qualified guys. The others have to work, or the whole team gets to qualify for the.
But that's what makes it harder. I guess if it was the whole team, then that team is gonna win every year.
Yeah,
if
but
it's the whole team,
one person actually he might hurt the team
because they haven't been playing. You mean right? Yeah.
I think we're going a little bit to the wayside, but I think the point what you're trying to make here is that there's an advantage. I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
I
think
just
so.
want to
Yeah.
see guys compete more, man. It's like a, I don't know if you call it a skill, but it's you need some strategy to like be able to string. If you qualify 12 weeks out from the Olympia, what are you going to do in that, meantime? That's not an easy task to try and hit 2 shows because that's really awkward timing. It's good if you can start a prep at 16 weeks out and just run into the show and not worry about it after that. But no, you have to come off and on and off drugs and adjust your training, your diet. It's like, it's not easy to manage. And that's just something that none of these guys have to worry about.
Like for me, I feel like the less I compete, I get worse as a bodybuilder.
I
Because
think, you probably just get fat if you don't get on stage for too long.
Yeah, but also my issue from day one has been peaking, right? Like it's like off season, they're like, okay, he looks like he has enough muscle, he has a good structure, but it's literally the peak, or even all the way into prep. You'll be like 4 weeks out, you'll be like, oh, okay, Beatty, I see you, Beatty. It's always the peaking. So the more I compete, I get better. Personally, I think that would be the same for somebody like Andrew and Samson as well. Whereas somebody like Nick, I don't know if he gets better if he does more shows because his peak is pretty.
Like forever.
Yeah, we don't know. We've never seen, even at the amateur.
Dude,
I
I'm
haven't seen
gonna
him
have to
do.
figure that shit out this year. I mean, I'm gonna be hitting a lot of shows, a couple weeks apart, and it's gonna be a juggling act. I'm gonna be
It's not,
on the phone a lot with Blue trying to figure out what we're doing with
yeah,
travel and everything too.
it's not something that, and I was going to ask a question, Stu, to you brought that up because, I look at myself going from amateur to pro. I never competed multiple times throughout the year.
I haven't either, man. I've
I
done two
never
shows
competed.
back to back at most.
Yeah, yeah. Two is two max. So like my question to you, Bitey, too, is like how many shows, what's the most shows you've done in one season up until
Two, yeah, it was just
two,
two,
right? Two, yeah, yeah.
and
I have done the most.
Yeah, you did
Yeah,
four
David
this
is
year.
No, I did 11.
Oh,
jeez.
what
All
the
right,
fuck?
Milo.
shit.
Milo.
That's why he was in shape. I mean, I will say USA's was probably my best condition, but even though I was flat, right? I think when you do more shows, when you have more time to diet, Now, now the issue is if you're doing 1,200 calories and you do that for extra fucking 6 weeks, you ain't gonna look too full. You're not gonna look too round after that.
So you were that was 6 weeks from the Cal to the USA's?
Well, it was 9 weeks, but I
9?
took 3 weeks like off, and
Okay.
then like I came off just because 9 weeks is a long time, and then I kind of like I didn't train 100%. So I just gave my body like a break and maybe gained like 10 pounds. And then I went back on plan about 6 weeks out.
Yeah.
And
So, I mean, that's an awkward period of time to wrestle.
that's
with.
not that's not good.
Yeah, the point I'm trying to make is it's not something that's very common till you get to the pro ranks. A lot of
Yeah.
amateurs compete multiple times a year. So, when we're talking about this and, in the case of Nick Walker and whatnot, if you have a chance not to do it, a lot of times you would choose not to do it, right? Because that's what you're kind of used to, you know.
If you can figure out a good formula, though, like personally, I'm looking forward to competing a lot this year just because I like to get out and go to shows and stuff. It's going to be fun. It's very fun to go to these events. I like it, but it's going to be hard to manage. And, it's not going to be like a 9-week gap for me. It's going to be like a 1-week gap and then a 2-week gap and then 4 weeks. And, it's kind of off and on. And it's going to be a lot of moving pieces. So,
Yeah, and still does Nick really have the formula since, year he looked good, then he went to Arnold and they over dieted and they don't really know what would have happened this year.
yeah. It would be an awkward gap as well. Not as awkward, but
I gotta be honest. I thought that Arnold look was really good, even though because the issue was that he was flat. I would say maybe his sweeps were a little bit flat, but I don't know if I could call that flat, bro. He still looked like a house. He still looked crazy to me. I thought that was me personally as a judge. I thought that was. I'm not a judge. I'm saying if I was a judge, I thought that was a better look than Olympia. Personally, I think he kind of filled out maybe 2 more pounds, maybe. But I personally thought that look was incredible. He looked insane at the Arnold, in my opinion. But the judges have like we talked about, right? The 90s, right? The judges, they have their own preference. They want you to be bursting full, bro. They want you to be bursting full. So I don't know.
And the Arnold got different criteria like posing and so on.
Yeah. Samson looked great too.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, guys. Mm-hmm. My mind is still on this multiple shows thing because I'm thinking because I know Stu's doing it next year, and I know I have to do it in 25. So like, I'm still thinking like in terms of strategy, like I don't know, like problems that people like David, for example, what would you say was the greatest challenge for you doing multiple shows in the space of one season? Like, what was the hardest thing about that for yourself?
Do you have a coach? Do you have a coach, David?
Yeah, I work with Cuba.
Cuba, okay.
The one who who won the super heavies.
I know Cuba.
Yeah, Cuba challenge. And when I've already done like 11 shows, it was just being bored. Because it was the same structure all the time, doing the same shit. And this year it was more like playing of a game, Do you need to be fuller? Do you need to be sharper? And actually, for example, you get a feedback, come back sharper. You come back sharper, they said you are not full enough.
Always.
You come back fuller, and they said, yeah,
Try.
but you weren't holding your midsection. And
so what was the interval? What was the interval from your first to the last show? Like how many weeks between those?
Damn.
I have done 250 days of the prep for the whole prep.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, so it was quite long. And from the first show to the last one, it was 12 weeks.
So you're doing almost every week.
Yeah.
So no, this year it was only 4 shows.
4 shows in 12 weeks. Okay.
Yeah.
Bro,
yeah, the
one every 4 weeks type of, like every 3-4 weeks. Like
every 3-4 weeks, yeah.
Bro, like in the US, bro, I don't think Americans are we're not as hardcore as these Europeans. We're just not.
No,
we're not even close.
When you said like you went off of the drugs, I was like, what do you mean?
Yeah, bro, yeah.
We got to get Roman on here, bro. Fuck.
Like what I usually do is I usually do my off season straight into prep. So my prep is like 20 weeks. So in my mind, I'm like, oh man, this is like 30 weeks on gear. So in my height, I'm like, I kind of feel like I'm gonna look worse if I'm on gear too long. I don't know if that's true. That's just the way I think. I'm like, if I'm on gear too long, I might just at some point stop responding. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, when
I'm
I can't
about that, dude. I'm worried about this year. I'm personally going to start prep a little closer to the show. I'm a little leaner than I was at this point last year, so I think I should be
a lot leaner.
Yeah. So, and then not start adding in the nasty prep drugs until like 6-8 weeks out. Instead of like maybe a little further out, 8-10. What I usually would, because I have to string it along for so much longer.
And that's the problem. Like it's not even that plus also like post show, like if you use diuretics, like the water, once you're done with the show, the water, like even if you keep your food the same, right, once you're done with diuretics, you're gonna get some kind of water rebound, right? So just like maintaining those things throughout the whole couple of shows that you're doing. I mean, Stu, I'm gonna have to pick your brain once you're
Yeah, I mean,
especially when you're traveling and taking diuretics,
Yeah.
For example, you're off the diuretics and then you travel, you get like more retention than actually like just going off.
This year for New York to Cali, that was a 1-week break. And so with what I do when I peak is I taper my water down over a couple days. I took like a quarter tab of Diazide before New York, and then on Sunday I started tapering it back up, so like a half gallon, gallon and a half over 3 days, and I didn't get any rebound. Like I didn't hold on to anything. But that's a pretty moderate kind of peak, right? I'm not taking a bunch of Diazide or whatever the fuck. I've never done a bunch of diuretics, so when you start playing with all that stuff, you're running in. You're probably going to have more to manage. Yeah. So I'm lucky in that department, at least. I don't have to worry about a ton of stuff there. But again, like I think I was a little bit flatter, but a little bit tighter in California. I don't know. Like I just look drier every morning the week leading into California compared to New York, and I'm not really sure why. So you just have to like get yourself back to equilibrium as quick as possible, and then repeat and repeat. And again, I've only done 2 shows back to back. So if you do 3, 4, what's that going to look like? Hopefully it's still predictable, but that's why I got blue on hot dot, like on dialogue.
Because I don't think Beatty, I'm just like you, man. I'm a water buffalo. So
yeah.
The water just comes back like that,
bro. I mean, for me also, I also take a good amount of diuretics. What I want to try to do it the Compton way. Compton don't like diuretics, but when I used to work with him, I used to be like, "Hey, Compton, man, I love you all, but this water ain't gonna come off. I'm gonna go ahead and pop the fucking Diazide, bro." Because I mean, at some point, it's like I mean, he's a way better coach than me, right? But it's like I know kind of like my water weight. I'm like,
Some people
I
need
know,
it. Some
bro.
people need it.
I know these methods work for Joe, but bro, I ain't Joe. Like my glutes is not gonna have one line in it if I don't pull this water off. I'm sorry, but I want to try to do it. I really want to try to do it his way because I feel like I lose my muscle bellies. My muscle bellies at 4 weeks out are never on stage. Now, what do you trade off? I tried bringing in shredded glutes. My ass isn't big enough, so it doesn't look impressive. Shredded glutes on me just looks like, my ass. I don't have enough muscle for it to look. Wow, look at his shredded glutes. So I almost felt like if they're full, Janicki that beat me, he didn't have any lines in his glutes or hamstrings, right? But they were full, and they weren't fat. You know what I'm saying? So
there was something in his glutes, all right. Anyways.
But let me ask you, 'cause that's something I discovered for myself. Just last prep is just that I like I run a little higher on estrogen just naturally. I just have a higher estrogen level. So like I need to really control my estrogen. Is that something you checked doing you checked
Yeah,
it?
we definitely killed my estrogen.
How does 5 mgs electro a day sound?
I got a protocol from a friend of mine, a very good pro, and he was like, "Yo, if you really got to get the estrogen off, this is what you got to do." And when I seen the program, I was like, "No wonder he was so fucking hard on stage."
I want to try to do more of that
about it,
personally.
Huh?
I think you spoke about it.
I did, yeah. I was basically on double dose of any blocker known to man. So I was on, 2 milligrams of anastrozole. I was on exemestane. I think it comes. What did that come? 5? It comes in 5.
Like
Whatever
25.
it was, it was double dose of.
25.
Yeah.
So yeah, 50 of that, and then 5 Bletcho, and then 40 Novadex or tamoxifen.
Did you guys have your glands removed, by the way?
No. Mine in the off season it gets a little puffy, but once I add in the fucking 200 grams of blockers, it goes away. It goes away.
Yeah, but because once I cut it, I basically I haven't run the AI at all.
Really?
I don't really run it much in. Oh, how about in prep though?
No, none.
Oh,
Dude. Oh man, you got to do that.
and you that hard? I mean, shit, you would look like fucking Hottie if you use it at this point.
Seriously, like that was a big help for me this year.
It's a big
When
difference.
I did the USA's, the year prior to that, I did a Arimidex. I got up to like 1.5 mg or like 1 milligram of it, and it fucked me up mentally so bad. So the next prep, Blue was like, okay, we're not doing that again. We're not doing the crazy AIs. Blue likes doing AIs though. He'd much rather have you on a Arimidex and Letro than do a bunch of diuretics. He describes it as like squeezing out a wet towel instead of like gradually, instead of like doing it all at once with diuretics. Sure. So I was on 2.5 mgs of Letro and 25 mgs of Aromasin this year, and it was much better, I think. And I'd like to go higher. Like I'd like to add some Arimidex in there as well, and see how that helps me.
Some people asked me that. They was like, "Yo, are you sure it was real?" It was all farm stuff, because when I was doing the UGL stuff before, and I was like, "This can't be real."
Do not do UGL AIs.
Yeah, but because once you are like on 5 mg letrozole, and I imagine that you are not taking this much test. Once you're on 0 estradiol, how lower? What benefits more can you get?
That's what I used to feel like until I tried it, and I definitely got drier. I don't know if it goes -0, but it kind of felt like it, And I will say that I don't believe everybody could or should even go, even with Letro. Some people get flat. There's some people I put them on just 2.5 Letro, and they get flat. So it is according to you. My estrogen, it never actually gets that high on paper. But the more blockers I take, I do get harder, man. So maybe it does go negative. I don't know how that works. It's like sometimes
because there are different estradiols in our body.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
so maybe it blocks and as well on other ones.
Exactly.
Who the fuck knows? It works, so send it, you know.
Bro, that's
As
what I
long
always
as it
say.
works.
When it comes to like science, it's like Chris Aceto, right? He'll talk about he has degrees. He was like, it does. I don't use it. He's like, it makes no difference because the textbook just doesn't. It doesn't work in real life. You know, you almost got to throw it out the window. I have people they bring me formulas. They're like, yeah, but if I every 1,000 calories must be 1.5 pounds. So if I do, I'm like, bro, throw that shit out the window, bro, because it's just not. It's just not gonna. First of all, you got drugs in your body. But even if you didn't have drugs, it just doesn't work that way, bro. Imagine a guy my size on 1,200 calories. Like, there's no way I should be losing 20 pounds a day, you know, but it's not how it works. You know, it just doesn't, you know, so you got to take that with a grain of
So we
salt.
spoke with Stu on the last podcast, you know, we were like, there is not going to be a study on 20 guys who are going to basically risk their lives only to prove that trend balloon works.
It works. Trust us.
Yeah, just trust us and look at us. It works. You can look at this whole wall. It works, you know.
Bro, but also when it comes to science, it's so fleeting, right?
Wait,
Because they'll be like,
did you just say you could look at the hole in the wall and know it
yeah,
works?
he told my Joe. He told my Joe. No, but science is so fleeting, right? Because the same person will say, hey, this study proves that all you guys are stupid. Partial reps don't work. You're stupid. Full range of motion. And then 5 years later, it's like, oh no, it was wrong. There's this new study says that partial reps work more. It's like, so it's like even science. What is science, right? Is literally just what we do, trial and error. So it's like you do it, you say you guys are stupid. This is right. You're wrong. And then a couple years later, you change your mind and be like, yeah, you don't actually need to have just 20. You can absorb more than 20 grams of protein a meal. It's like, yeah, the same people who said you can't absorb 50-gram protein, but who cares? Because we've been doing it and it's been working for us. So it doesn't matter what the scientist has to say. At the end of the day, nothing beats.
I just think bodybuilding, like, you can't really use science for bodybuilding. Like, when I look at bodybuilding's been around since how long? The 60s? You know what I mean?
That is science. That is
There's
science.
a lot of trial and error that has gone into it. So for you to say that, you know, there's been over 30 years of this shit going on. And for someone to come in and say, oh, I did this study and I think it's this way. This is the way it should work. And they have no actual physical evidence of someone actually going through that process. It's just straight theory. I find it very hard because there's just so many variables to the human body. Me personally, with bodybuilding, what I have seen and just around the block is that the people that are so sciencey, a lot of times,
they don't do shit.
Progress. They look like crap.
Yeah, they don't make much progress.
They all look bad.
Bro,
like I honestly, like I've tried to figure out one of these science bros, like who is the best amongst you? Who is your champion that you're going to put up as evidence that your shit works? And the best I can think of is Jared Feather, and he hasn't had a line in his glutes in years. Okay,
but the thing is, you know,
Jared's a nice guy, but like, I'm sorry, he is not delivered on stage. And he has
we
like
can
when he
speak about
posts
the
on Instagram,
mechanics.
he's coping. He's like he has all these extended explanations about like why, you know, so and so didn't happen right, and you know his friend Mike Israel tells the same way. It's like, dude, just eat some fish and asparagus and see what happens.
It's so
Just
they make
try
it so people make it so complicated, bro.
No,
So fucking complicated just to get to the same destination. Yo, why are everybody else bringing in shredded glutes and 250 pounds without doing this, and then you have to outsmart them just to lose to them? You know, like B-Pack. You know, Ben, he's talking shit about Branch. Oh, it's just all intensity. He has no idea what he's doing. And then Branch is waxing the floor with him every show. He's getting last place while Branch is second place at the Olympia. And it's like, but you're gonna look at.
He was good. Like he was.
No, he was good.
And he did train with crazy intensity on his stuff. You ever seen him like repping out 6-7 plates on squats?
Yeah. I did see that.
He's like a piston. It's amazing, you know. So like
my point of view, you can't tell me
twice a day.
It's like, but you can't tell Branch that he's doing it wrong, even if you believe he is. If he's mopping you, you know what I'm saying? Like at that point, I would be like, what is Branch doing that I'm not doing? You know what I'm saying? I just think he didn't have the genetics personally, but still.
in my opinion, when it comes to results, I don't care what the studies say. The number one thing is intensity. All right,
Yeah.
you may be doing full range of motion, and this guy may be doing half range of motion. But if that guy is putting everything into those sets and he's killing himself, and you're doing full range of motion here with 135s, that guy is probably going to make more progress to you at the end of the
And
day.
do you know who does a good job at balancing this? Hunter. Hunter is
Yeah.
like he
I like
trains,
that.
you know, kind of scientifically, but he's not leaving reps in reserve. He's not training like
He's
a
going all in.
pussy and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like he does full range of motion on his stuff and he trains really hard. And the two are not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
I think the most valuable thing, and I talked to David about this, you get out of the scientific side of all this shit is you need to understand the limitations of any study that you're doing. And the limitations are massive when they're looking at these studies, you know, and maybe they're not summarizing them properly in those abstracts, but like, you know, in order to try and copy and paste that methodology, whatever study methodology they're using onto our sport, it just doesn't work when you take in all of the myriad of variables that are there.
Yeah.
And you know, it would be unethical to set up a study like David said earlier, where you're actually, you know, controlling all those variables.
Well, the study, like Ken said, the study is literally the 60 years of bodybuilding that's went on. That's the study. Like looking at Menser low volume, they're looking at Arnold high volume, they're looking at Dorian, looking at Ronnie. Okay, but if you train like this, maybe you'll beat your body up. Okay, so I see. Okay, but the benefits in this, you train like Jay Cutler, maybe you won't be as grainy, but you'll be healthier when you're like the studies is right in front of us. We can see the studies. It's just that it has to be done in real time. It can't be done in a lab with college kids, right? You know what I'm saying? Especially college kids these days. Who knows what the fuck variables is left on, on the table. So it's like the studies, we
I
are
remember
the studies.
because I remember there was a time, maybe like 10 years ago, the hot topic was overtraining, right? Like, where is that threshold for people for overtraining? Stu's smiling because I'm sure everyone remembers this. And
Yeah.
there was this whole thing, right? They're like, oh, you know, you shouldn't go more than 5 days a week. Or there was this study that came out that, like, listen, at the end of the day, man, like, if you're sitting, you go to work 9 to 5 every single day and you train for what, 2 hours a day? Like, come on, man. Like, that became sort of from my experience, from what I saw around, that became an excuse, right,
Yeah.
for people to put a little bit less because, oh, I don't want to overtrain. But
But what's
it's
the
like,
valuable thing you can take from this? Like you can overtrain. It's possible, right?
right,
What you have to understand is how much work are you doing in the gym? How much work are you doing outside of the gym? Are you laying brick or are you sitting at your desk all day? Like how high is your food and drugs? You know, those are going to affect your recovery ability. And feel it out because you're not going to be able to figure out, like, you're not going to plug it into a formula. Like, I'm walking this many steps a day, I'm doing 12 sets for
Yeah.
chest, and I'm eating this many calories. So you have to understand the variables and how they're going to affect your recovery and then manipulate them intelligently yourself. So it
Nobody.
takes some thought. People want just like an answer, you know, plug it into a formula and do that, right? And it's just not that simple. I mean, you got to do it when you're coaching people too. It's like when I give someone a training program or like a diet, like it's a baseline, and we need to manipulate from there to get where we're going. Because I might put them on, 1.5 times as much volume as they need right off the bat, but so we need to adjust if it's overdoing it for them. But
No,
maybe it's
nobody.
fine.
Nobody has to tell you if you're overtraining. Like you should be able to know, like if I wake up and I'm like, oh fuck, my back, oh my knees, my ankles, oh shit. Like you don't have to be like, yo, baby, how much sets you're doing? Okay, you're doing this much sets. Okay, I think you're overtraining. Like I should be able to fucking know.
I
And,
was
and
just
err on
thinking
the side of
the same
doing
thing. This
harder.
last prep for North Americans,
Mhm.
dude, it got to a point, I think like 4 weeks out. I was doing like 60 minutes of cardio in the morning, stairs, 45 minutes at night, stairs plus 2 hours, 2 hour working sessions, right? And dude, I remember one day, man, after my cardio session, I came back home and bro, my body just went into shock. Like I was literally in my living room, just like in shock. My body couldn't move.
Yeah,
It's not like low sugar or nothing. Like I
I know
was
exactly
just
what you mean,
body just shut down. And it's
bro.
like
But
definitely
You can't even control your head. Like you know how babies' heads be like this. I'll be sitting there and I can hear myself breathing, and I'm like losing balance. I'm like this. And I'm like, what the? I'm like, bro, my shit shut down, and I'll just be sitting there for like 30 minutes. Like I can't even close my mouth. I'm like this.
Yeah.
I'm like this. You're just fucked. At that point, it's just like you're fucked. There's no way to go from there. But if you give it a few minutes, you'll be like, you know what? Can I get up and eat this chicken breast? Fuck it. Let me get up and eat this chicken breast. But it's when your body is fucked up,
we talked earlier to that point, dude. Like people, when you get there for the first time, it's like you think you're dying. So you think something's seriously wrong. Because like, yeah, it's not normal, but like we've all kind of been there once or twice.
Right.
You need to
remember when they spoke about Rami that he was feeling bad and so on. And he was basically first time getting into the real shape with Chad. And his friends were calling Chad like he looks like he's about to pass out. And Chad is like, yeah, he's going to pass out. It's normal.
Hey, you know what? If you collapse, get back up. You know what I'm saying? Get back up, you know.
That Rossi once said that once he passed out on the treadmill or was about to pass out, he just asked for a grapefruit or something. He just licked it, and they asked, "Does he want one? Does he need more?" And he said, "Nope," and went back to the treadmill.
Yeah. That happened to Kai before at the gym. He collapsed on the stairmaster as well. You know, hey man, you gotta be a little crazy for this shit. You know, you guys want to get into some questions?
Yeah, sure.
I don't know if you guys say I was laughing at myself earlier because I was talking to Ross. He was asking a question. I was like, "Hey, come on and ask the question yourself." He's like, "I'm so high right now that I can't even form I can't even form sentences." But he said he's down next time.
Good old Ross.
But let me answer his question though. I kind of wanted him to get on here high, but if he says he's too high, then he's probably best off just not. All right. Ross Flanagan asks, out of the crew, has anybody prepped without Trend A? If so, what was the experience like?
Without A?
Trend A. Did we talk about this? Like,
then.
Huh?
You got the long ester then.
No, Trend A. Trend Ace.
Yeah, I think we got the annotate, so no problem.
He's too funny. I think we talked about it on the podcast that hasn't aired yet, right? I don't think we aired that one.
No, not yet. Yeah,
we actually talked a little bit, I think, about
that. Yeah, because we were talking about Ryan, how he got those crazy hiccups from when he started taking Trend, right? Yeah. So it's possible. I mean,
Roman said that he didn't use it last prep.
He didn't. Oh,
yeah.
Just used everything else.
Master on and test.
Okay, well, he's plenty hard. So, I mean,
yeah,
the off season. Good.
I gotta be honest, but like I said, I don't believe. I guess besides test, maybe GH. I don't think there's any one compound that without it you're gonna like significantly just lose placings. You're not gonna go from Mr. Olympia to 10th place because you took out Trent A. You know, now could you go from Mr. Olympia to 2nd place? Possible, you know. But honestly, if you just up the Master on, up the Primo, up the Winnie, I don't know
if he's asking that because like maybe he didn't do it. I don't talk to Ross enough to know, but like that'd be interesting. I mean, he was in great shape this year.
I'm curious to see if he comes on. I would like to.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest, but
maybe he just doesn't. Ross is a high-strung guy, so there's a possibility that maybe he doesn't do good on Trend. I could see that.
The question sounds like he wants to try it without it. Maybe he's tried super low, like 100 milligrams, and maybe he was like, I look the same. Maybe I can, you know what I'm saying? I think if you go down and you don't notice a difference, listen, Ross is so lean though. He's so shredded that I don't think he needs it. I don't think he needs it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you know,
that's something like, cause we were talking about doing a bunch of shows and extended season where you're, hitting, over the 2 months you're going to be on stage, right? If you're on like 500 mgs of Trend for like 8 weeks straight, plus, the time leading into that show, that's a lot of fucking Trend. Maybe if you could drop that down to like 150 or 200 and replace it with more primo or something. That might be smart, or maybe even drop it out. If fucking Roman did it and he looks like that, that might work.
I got to be honest, man. I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like I look how I look. You know, when I add stuff in, take stuff out, I drop a little water, hold a little bit of water, but nothing I take, I feel like, whoa, this is next level.
Yeah,
I
after
kind
a
of
certain
feel,
point, if you've done enough gear, like it's like nothing blows your socks off anymore. You
yeah.
definitely see
Well,
visual changes when you add
That's what I was
stuff
gonna
in,
say.
but like,
Yeah, it's like when
I don't
people
think I
ask
don't
you,
think
how do you feel on the cycle? You're like,
yeah, I don't think it's a psychological feel, but I think there's definitely a visual change for sure. There's definitely a visual
like,
change.
like even when I come off cycle, right, I notice a difference, but nothing like it used to be. Like 5 years ago, 6 years ago, when I would come off cycle, it would be night and day. Now I'm like, okay, it's like
yeah,
I'm a little bit softer. My joints hurt a little bit. So same thing the other way around. When I add trend in, I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm a little harder, you know, but it's not that night and day that it used to be. I think at some point your body kind of becomes your body because you're already pretty big and pretty lean most of the time anyways, you know what I'm saying? So I think you have enough muscle that you kind of just, give or take. Palumbo said that at the later part of his career, he would only do test and then he would do trend for the prep, but he wouldn't do like mass or anything else. He was like, once he did trend, anything else he added, he didn't notice anything from it. That I could probably agree with that. Like if you just did trend instead of without Masteron or Primo or Winnie, I don't think it would be that nice. I think we could all do that. Imagine just doing test like a high level of test in GH off season, then adding trend for the pre contest. I think we could all
that's
look.
that's what the guys in Texas do. From what I've heard, they
See,
slam shitloads of growth hormone and like 3.5 grams of test, and just eat like a motherfucker. Train
that'll
super hard.
that'll do it.
Like it
no, the
works.
Russians used to ride those kind of cycles.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, they would do
See,
like 3 grams of test with GH. GH was set like as much as you can afford, and then
yeah.
they would go without test to 3 grams of Deca, for example.
Damn.
what?
As much as you could afford. I mean, it depends.
I've got this cycle somewhere.
Holy
That,
shit!
that that's what Eric used to say. He would take.
Europeans don't play, man.
Yeah, my boy Eric used to do that. He would just take what he could afford. But I could afford, but he could afford a lot of shit. So he would take a lot of shit.
You talking
You know,
Janicki or Konevsky?
Kanevsky.
Oh, okay.
Janicki. I don't really know. I don't think I've ever talked about cycles with him. I don't really know. I don't really know
Yeah,
what he
who
does.
knows
I'm being honest.
what he'd tell you.
I think we should get him on the show. I think we should get Janicki on the show. He said he's down. I didn't know he followed bodybuilding that closely though, but he told me he follows it. Like at least he does now. I don't really know what we're gonna talk about though. If he followed it, we could talk about anything though.
Maybe he could teach us how to be social media superstars.
Hey
Actually make some
man,
real money.
I would love to learn because I just be posting what the fuck I want to post at this point.
Me too.
I don't have no. The podcast is the only thing that I actually got into a routine. I know what I'm doing at this point, but everything else, bro, I just be posting
It
shit. I
just
don't know.
comes and goes with how much phentermine you're on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
All right.
because
So
even like YouTube, for example, like
Why I
that's some
didn't get a link for the fentanyl yet?
huh? Yo, I think people really thinking like I sell fentanyl at this
I
point.
know, buddy, you're gonna get into trouble soon. We gotta stop this. You're gonna get into trouble soon.
Oh man.
It's legal in California. It's okay. Up here too,
What's not
actually.
legal in Europe?
Oh yeah. All right.
That's a
Let's
bummer.
go. I think we went over this already. Cbum 22 followers real. Um.
Yes.
Okay. What? Okay. He said, "Make out with a girl that looks like Fuad, or 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 make out with a guy that looks like Gracie Bond." You gotta know who Gracie Bond is. You just don't know that you know who she is. But let me pull up Gracie Bond. But I mean, let me see if I could.
Why Fuad?
Yeah,
I don't know if he was being facetious. This is Gracie Bond, my favorite influencer. That's Gracie Bond.
That's
So basically, this girl with a penis or Fuad with a vagina.
I'm getting fucked.
Okay, listen, like we all know the answer. Like, if we're being honest, we all know the answer. But I think guys are scared to say it. But I would look at you weird if you said you was willing to fuck Fuad with a vagina. I wouldn't look at you weird if you said, because
you said make out. Hold on. Nobody said
Oh, make out.
intercourse.
Chill out.
So you don't really
Oh,
have
make
to
out.
get fucked.
Your fantasies are coming out, bro.
That's I was gonna say just turn her around. I mean, the ass is so big, you're not gonna see anything else. You know what I'm saying? But
Hey, that
And she's
picture
not
on the
gonna feel
top right.
anything as well. So
Look at that picture on the top right there. That is super Photoshop. Look at the bend of that
Yeah, look at
reflection.
that.
on the
oh my
floor.
god, yeah,
That
you're
is-
right.
That's a straight table behind her, and it's like warped as
Holy shit.
fuck.
you have been with Goop too much.
You gotta you gotta send this to Goop. Okay, like we all know her ass is huge either way, but why Photoshop it though? Because look, in this video, her ass is fucking huge.
Oh, that is disgusting.
That is not.
Oh
Yeah,
my-
that's dude.
ew.
Listen,
Dude,
I didn't say
dude. It's literally like about to fall off, like the silicone.
Dude. That's some
You
I
need
didn't
to
say-
ask yourself a question: with which wave are you coming in?
With that.
After because it's not going to be easy. So after which wave of her ass are you going in?
Which
Yeah, I mean
wave?
that
Hey, this
like
is
which way are you gonna approach it? You
Oh.
might not be able to fit, you know.
this is too much, guys. This is not even this ain't even look real. You know what
So
I mean?
you rather
Well, it's
be
not
with
real.
who?
I speak for the white men in the
Chill out,
room.
dude.
We
That's it.
couldn't pull that
It's-
off from behind.
I can't lie. When it gets close to this point, it's a little tricky. You're not gonna have the length of a stroke you want to have. You're gonna have to kind of like make it work. Listen, let's be real. Unless you're fucking Bo what's his name, Bo Lewis.
Oh, Lewis.
Lewis?
Unless you're Bo Lewis, what you gonna do with this shit? What are you
Hey,
gonna do? With
do you know anything about
Like
that?
between tits.
Dude,
that? Yeah,
Bo is a bad motherfucker.
I bet.
Yeah, he killed a guy and he went to prison for like a long time.
Should we keep that in here? Is that public knowledge?
Yeah, it's public knowledge. Yeah, he's talked about it openly before. But he's the nicest guy ever now. But like, yeah, I think it was like manslaughter or something.
Wow.
But yeah, he's a bad dude. Like a good guy, but like a bad dude, you know?
I was gonna make like a bad dick joke about how he killed the guy, but let's not go there.
He spent a while in prison, so I don't think you need to make any jokes.
Damn. Is that rude that we just talked about that, or
You can cut that
Nah.
out if you
mind?
want. I don't know.
look at this though? You know you like that, Ken. You know
Look,
you know
it's
you're
just too much. Like on video, right? Because it's on a video or whatnot. But if you're just walking in the restaurant,
yeah.
dude, she's hitting all the tables and shit. Like it's not even like
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
that's
that bitch can't cook. What do you she's like cutting chicken breast? No, you can't.
But okay, one thing I try to explain to girls, right? Okay, she has 4 million followers or 4.3. Women see that and they think that okay, all these guys follow her. That's what guys want, and it's like no, it's like it's not even a fetish. It's like just because you're looking right. Okay, if a girl sees Big Ramy and she's like, "Oh my God, look at the guy," she touches his arm. You think she wants to bang Big Ramy? Probably not. But she gonna look at it and she'll probably you might follow so you might follow somebody like that. You don't want your girlfriend to look like that. Come on, nobody wants a girl.
Like,
That's the same, about the Cbum. That's why he got 22 millions.
Exactly.
yeah, but people
they
like
actually
people
want
like
to fuck
freaks.
Cbum.
Yeah,
People like-
they're
You know
probably
what I
funny.
mean? Like it's just like bodybuilding. People, most people you go to the street, they'll say, "Oh, that's disgusting." But you look at most popular bodybuilders, they have big followings, right? It's people love
Yeah.
freak. even if it's muscle or it's a girl that looks, you know,
Yeah.
who just
Well,
love
When
okay.
you go to the circus, you go to see a woman with a bird, not with,
Yeah. Bearded lady. Okay, I will say this: like, you'll go as far as even sleeping with her, right? But not long term. Maybe just to try it out. Same with us. Like, I mean, I've been able to sleep with women that they don't want to be my girlfriend, but they're down to try it. You know what I'm saying? So
I was gonna say, like, as bodybuilders, I'm sure everyone here, you've definitely attracted, people, women that, maybe
whores.
character flawed. That's the
No,
best way to politically put
I
it.
don't attract any women.
All right, next
Seriously.
question. Let's see
so
what
we
we
know
got
who
here.
picks what. Yeah.
So,
Careful,
did anybody
David.
pick? Did anybody pick Fuad?
No.
Probably not. Okay, but he said making out. I mean, that's a pretty easy choice
I
at that
couldn't
point.
get over the beard, man. That's yeah.
Even squat or deadlift anymore. Go to off plan meals when in off. Huh? Oh no, I
Go
think we answered
to
something like this. Yeah, he's trying
oh
to
yeah, we've done that
say
before. Cheat
yeah.
meals.
Is Kai on fentanyl or fentanyl? Is Kai on fentanyl? I don't know what he means.
Yes
All
to
right.
all of the above.
What's the worst mistake you've ever made while in the gym? Huh. Maybe I should read these questions silently before I read them aloud. But what's the worst mistake you've ever made while in the gym?
White leggings while squatting.
Hmm. That
That
takes
was
some
my
balls to
go-to.
admit, dude.
Your worst mistake you've ever made in the gym. Hmm. I can't think of a mistake in the gym.
To be honest, being asking for a squat when I was squatting, like, I don't know how much it is in pounds. I was squatting 300 kilograms.
That's
What
like
the
And
fuck?
650. That's a lot. That's a lot of weight.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
asked some stick guy to spot me, and I basically fucked my hip up. So that
Damn.
was pretty dumb.
I don't like having spotters on squats at all. Because
Yeah.
I don't feel like they can help me, you know. I don't know. I always felt
No,
that way.
if anything, you can kill him.
Yeah, that's something I'll just throw it and then kill the
Yeah.
motherfucker behind me.
I mean, it's just like that video. You guys saw that video of that guy, right? That passed
Yeah.
away. The guy that was supposed to spot him, he didn't spot him properly.
He crushed his neck, yeah.
Crushed his neck and killed him.
I haven't had any like catastrophic injuries in the gym, so I can't say I regret anything.
Me too.
Maybe, sometimes this is a little different. When I'm not very approachable, and when I moved to Arizona, I had a hard time making friends for a long time because like nobody would talk to me because I look like I look like. So and then
Once
when I
they
like
talk to you, you're cool.
yeah, you're right. And I had to consciously like make an effort, take your headphones off, take your hat off, like just look non-threatening. And then people started talking to me, I made friends. It was great. But I do that every fucking time I go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a nice guy.
Thanks, dude.
Okay.
You wouldn't guess though.
No, because the thing is, like, we don't realize what we look like because we don't feel how we look. So
Yeah, I mean I made that excuse for years now. I know I have to go out of my way to be friendly to people and stuff.
You
So
have to look non-threatening. Yeah.
yeah.
Like I
what I
intentionally
do is
when I see people just to give them that impression that okay, you know what, I'm a friendly guy. Like,
yeah. I don't wear headphones. Every time somebody makes eye contact, I kind of nod at them, and that makes them feel comfortable because I've had people be like, "Yo, when I first met you, I didn't want to go up to you," but I'm like, "Why not?" But then from the outside in, you got like I'm covered with tattoos at this point. I have like the dreads, the beard, you know what I'm saying? And it's like people see it and they're like, I don't know if I want to approach this guy. And yeah, while I'm lifting, I don't have the nicest expression on my face. You know, it's kind of like, it doesn't. So, but to me, I'm like, I think I look approachable, but maybe not. Maybe not. It
the only
depends who's
problem the
looking.
only problem I have with that is when you when you are like that, right? And then you actually in a new gym and that becomes your daily driver and people start coming up to you, sometimes it can be very distracting, because people see you that way. So they always want to come up to you and talk to you. And I don't know about you guys, but when I'm in my workout, I don't really want to talk to anyone. And that's where I have challenges. That's where I always have problems. And
But
in
like it's pretty easy. Like, dude, I put my hat on, like
yeah.
really low, put my headphones on. I don't make eye contact with nobody when I'm like getting after, right? At the end of a
Yeah.
prep, like I don't want to stop and chat.
No.
That's what I
But
When I
mean.
people
In prep,
respect that.
it gets very bad for me in
when
prep.
when I went to Fit Nation Gym, right, with Joe and Paul, right, everybody knows them, but they have a respectful way of doing it. They kind of just go, "Hey, what's up?" and they keep going. But when I'm by myself at my gyms, people don't do that. People like they stop and they'll talk for forever. I could be with a client, they'll interrupt the session like, "Hey," and I'm like, I'm kind of training somebody right now, but I don't want to be rude, so I kind of talk to them, but I kind of act like I have somewhere to go. But the Fit Nation, I think Fit Nation is such a hardcore gym that they have a different vibe. They just say, "What's up?" and keep it going,
Yeah.
But most gyms, they kind of just, even Gold's Venice, they'll just talk to you all day long. You know what I'm saying? So that
Yeah.
that does. I still want everybody to come up to me and say what's up, but I gotta admit, like when people have like a whole conversation with you, and it's 10 different people, it's a lot. Sometimes it's a lot. I got to get home,
Celebrity,
man.
man.
I got to go eat sometimes. But definitely come up to me. Like don't not come up to me because I said that. It's still a positive thing.
But I do have a story for that. The dumbest thing I've done, this was when I first started lifting. Um, I went into the gym and you see lifting videos, online or whatnot. Everyone benches 135, right? It's just standard 45 plate. You put it on a bench and you go. This was my first time ever. I had to be like maybe like 15 years old. And I went on a bench, didn't warm up nothing. I put 245 plates on and I took that shit off the rack. And boom, that shit went down and never came back up.
Oh shit!
and I was
Okay.
and like someone had to rush and help me, right, and take the weight off. And man, that was the most embarrassing thing.
Got that out of the way early.
Yeah,
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
okay.
Did you go back
I
to
got
this gym?
I got one.
years.
I was like literally 3 days out from a competition back in New York. I think it was the Atlantic States or the Eastern USA's. One of those shows. Probably Atlantic States. And then I was filming a YouTube video, and then this random kid in the gym starts doing muscle ups. And at the time, I was like 22, maybe 23, and I was like, I think I could do that. And I got up and hit one. I was like, oh shit, I could do that shit. And I went back down, did another one, and I heard Velcro, and it was my bicep, and it said slap. I said, oh fuck. And I get off, and the camera guy like, what happened? I was like, turn off the camera, man. It's over. And then luckily, it turned like black and blue, but I'm pretty dark skinned. So on stage, I'm like, I don't think nobody's gonna see it. It was swollen, but you can't really tell. And at one point, I had like an indentation, but I grew so much muscle around it that, let me see if you can tell. Can you tell? You can't really tell because most of my biceps have like an indentation, but this one is a little worse. You can't tell, right?
No, I can't really tell.
Maybe a little bit when you move it.
It's like you grow enough muscle around it, nobody really cares. Like the scar, I used to have bad scar tissue too here, and you grow enough muscle, you can't tell. But if you're a bodybuilder, don't do a muscle up. It's kind of dumb. It doesn't even work out. It doesn't even train anything.
One
Especially
guy
like
in
2 days
Poland,
out.
one guy
Huh?
in Poland just lately tried to do, because he was an ex-gymnast, and he tried to do like a flag, the muscle up on the back, and he
Yeah.
tore both of his biceps.
Ooh.
And by the way, like 4 years ago, he was fifth on the New York Pro 212.
Holy shit, that's no
Yeah.
good. You know who else did that?
That's not Wolski, is it?
No.
Okay.
You guys see Karev Bajo hit the flag. He hit it good. He didn't do the cheap one. He held it there perfectly sideways for like 3-4 seconds. And he got big legs. Yeah. I still wouldn't recommend it.
Kareth is an awesome dude, man. I met him for the first time at the New Jersey States when I competed there. And it's funny that show, like when I came in, people thought I was coming because there were a lot of guest posers. People thought I was coming to guest pose. I'm like, nah, I'm coming to compete. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to go pro, you know what I mean?
I'm doing the show.
But anyways, Kareth was like, he was super awesome. Like I had never met him to that point, you know what I mean? But he was like such a great guy, gave me such great tips. So yeah, some of these guys, man, like when you meet them in person, because Kareth doesn't talk a lot, you know,
No.
wise, but in person, man, he is like vibrant, you know.
Fun to be around.
Is he in New Jersey or New York?
I think he's based in New Jersey, but I think he's in North Jersey, so he's closer to New York, you know.
Okay.
New York, Jersey and New York is the same shit. Because when I lived, I was working in Jersey at that T-Neck Marriott where they had the shows, but I was living in New York. I was living in the Bronx at that point, so it's like it's kind of same difference. Like Victor Martinez, he was from the Bronx, but he was living in Jersey most of his career. But it's like nobody. It's almost the same.
Nobody knows. Even Akeem. Akeem lives in Jersey, you know, but he's a Brooklyn Beast. You know?
Exactly.
Like cheaper over there, huh?
A little bit. It is, man. It is. It's still expensive, but it is, man.
All right. I think we've been on like a little over 2 hours. Let's do a couple more.
I gotta get out of here at 3:30. I got a phone call.
All right, so let me try to get a good one. Have you ever needed to push off a prep because money was tight? This is a good one for the youth.
I would never start a prep if my money was tight.
That is deep.
Because I know that
that's a good one.
I know idiots who take even loans to compete.
I've never started a prep if I couldn't financially afford it. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
I've never been in that situation, fortunately, but I'm also really frugal with most of the stuff that I do. So, I mean, that helps.
I've been my first couple of cycles, I would like run out of money and then like not take tests for a couple of weeks and then get right back on. But that's
you
about
got clients
it.
Like that, like who are like, I need to wait for my next paycheck to like buy some tests. I'm like, Jesus, dude, like.
Yeah, that happens, but not like to the point like they go weeks though. They might go a couple of days, but usually I feel like you should kind of have that together before you start. Honestly,
yeah,
you know, I was just in a rush to get it started, you know, but I never missed like too long, you know.
Yeah, but now times are different. You know, you can speak to anyone and ask for advice how much it is going to take. When we started, first of all, shit was way worth much more money, and the second thing, you really didn't have anyone to, you know, tell you the truth or to mentor you, so to speak.
Yeah, I was paying $200 for a bottle test at one point because the first time I bought tests, I bought it for like $60-$70 from a guy at the gym, and it was fake, and that was supposed to be my first cycle. So I was traumatized. So I was trying to get top-notch shit. So the guy he was a nurse or a pharmacist, whatever the guy was, and he was getting it from a prescription he had. So it was SIP 200, and I was like, this is the only one I could trust. And he charged me 200. I don't know why the fuck he charged me so much money, but luckily he was pretty cool about it. He was like, oh, you know, I was like, I only got 100. And he was like, oh, I'll take the 100 and pay me the other one later. But it probably cost less than 100. That's why he didn't mind.
If it came from a pharmacy, it was probably actually pretty expensive.
Oh yeah,
I've seen people with blood work on like pharmacy TRT before as well, and they switched over to like UGL test, and their numbers doubled. So like it, like to the point where it seemed like the pharmacy shit was underdosed. Because I know that people overdose their UGL stuff sometimes, so people get more of a kick out of it. But like, I don't know.
And plus, test is cheap, so if you're gonna overdose something, might as well be the test.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I'll say with that question too, to add to it, there are a lot of unforeseen circumstances you could have in a prep. So even if you have just the base amount of money that you were planning to for the X amount of weeks in the show or whatnot, you need a lot more because you don't know what's going to happen during a prep. Yeah. So definitely don't stop.
I think we've all probably put something on credit cards, like random shit on credit cards before. That's pretty common.
I I've never used a credit card before. I have one.
Oh,
I've never
shit.
used it.
Yeah, so that's an
okay.
You got
interesting
no
question.
credit too? No credit?
Because lots
I
of
pay my
people are
bills.
saying that.
Okay, you put bills on it, but I was like, oh, you need to at least pay something.
No, I don't spend any money on my credit card. My credit score is good because I pay all my bills on time. So
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
just
lots of people
terrified.
ask like, are the UGLs fake? And they don't believe that anymore. They're fake. I believe that if they are willing to scam us on protein, why wouldn't they scam us on like test?
You gotta trust who you're getting it from if it's UGL, you know. Like Boston, anybody Boston told me was legit, I believe him. Like Boston, he wasn't capable of lying, or he would only tell you something if he was so 100% sure of it. You know what I'm saying? He would never tell you that guy's a good guy unless, excuse me, unless like he's really been through it with that guy. You know what I'm saying? He's not easy to trust people. He doesn't give people props really fast. Boston said, hey, that guy got good shit. I'm gonna believe him 100% without even asking anybody else. You know what I'm saying? He was one of those people.
There's a lot of I'm sure you guys have all heard of Janoschik. He does the purity testing on all kinds of stuff.
Okay, yeah.
It's like HPLC testing for like all the drugs that we use. So he does reports. He's like third party independent, and people will send samples to him just randomly from various UGLs. And there's feedback. Like there's people checking these online sources. So do your research.
Yeah, that's important. All right. One more question and we'll fill out. What's your last meal before a death sentence? It's hard to say that when you're off season because we're not really thinking about food too much.
Probably some fentanyl.
I mean, it'll probably be
Take the
something
pain away.
simple.
So imagine
Yeah.
that you are, for example, allergic to peanuts. You are eating the peanut butter, you know, and you die before the sentence. And you are like, at least I screwed the system.
Yeah, get them over. Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
point. I think
I'd overdose
think,
on fentanyl personally.
yeah.
Just slip
Mine
out.
is mine is so simple, man. Dude, like you know those Walker's shortbread biscuits, the ones in the red. It's like butter biscuits.
Yeah.
Like Walker's, dude, I love them shits, man. Like if not for bodybuilding, I'd be eating those every single day. So just give me all 2 boxes, man. I'm ready to go.
I don't have too many cravings, man. I go fried chicken and watermelon.
Cut that out.
No,
Katie, you're dragging
I
your
don't-
people back millennia.
I don't know, man.
Hey,
I don't
careful.
I'm not. I don't. But I don't even get cravings no more, bro. Like I kind of look forward to chicken and sweet potato. It sounds crazy, but I kind of look forward. I'm about to eat that right now. I kind of look forward to that. I like oxtails. I don't. Maybe oxtails. I don't fucking know, bro.
Isn't that like a Jamaican thing?
Well, Jamaicans make the best ones, I will say.
Yeah.
I've tried it from everywhere, but they're not all the same. I've tried like Cuban oxtails, and I was like, nah, that wasn't doing it for me. Jamaican oxtails, I'm gonna have some today. So my girl's cousin is Jamaican, so he's gonna make some oxtails today. And we literally bring him oxtails to make like, hey, make these oxtails. You know what I'm saying? I think oxtails. I guess I don't know. I can't think anything else. I haven't been having sweets like that. How about you, Stu?
Actual food, not drugs, huh?
Mhm.
Probably some beef stew. I mean,
Oh, there you go.
yeah.
Staying true to the brand. Staying true to the brand.
Yo,
How about
if you ever get to that level, you know, Dave Palumbo starts questioning your followers, just bring out a beef stew brand, you know?
rather beef food? David, what's like a traditional Polish meal?
Dumplings.
Starving.
Starving, it's a little bit east from Poland.
Oh,
I shouldn't
I
have said it, right?
didn't. I didn't hear what you said. What did you say with the?
Dumplings.
Oh, really? Like what kind of
Yeah,
dumpling?
Yeah, like for example, we have the ones with meat, ones with cottage cheese, and so on.
Oh, I thought dumplings was like Asian. No.
No,
Oh, okay. But what meal would you pick? Would you pick dumplings or no?
no, I'm not. I'm not this desperate. I'm taking pancakes. I'm just taking simple pancakes.
Yeah,
Grilled
I really
monkey.
I don't have any cravings right now. But if I had to remember, like when I'm hungry on prep, I crave burgers. I crave pancakes.
Yeah.
I crave. I mean, you kind of crave anything, anything you can get your
But
hands on
imagine,
prep.
like, is it
I would-
post your bodybuilding journey? Then basically you're saying, fuck it, I'm not eating anymore.
I would probably eat sandwiches, just easy shit. Sandwiches, maybe burgers.
I like a good Italian sandwich, dude. It was real good.
Italian food or lasagna. I like some lasagna. I like some Italian food. I could do some Italian food.
Or
That's
something
about it, I guess.
like
Good old
really,
Brazilian
really
steakhouse, man. It never gets old. You know, like
you could eat
steakhouse.
something really, really disgusting and be like, it's not going to get any worse. You can kill me as well right now. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Imagine if you had fucking chicken and rice for the last meal to make sure you look good in the
He
coffin.
died how he lived.
Yeah. But gentlemen, I think that's it. Luckily, we got in this episode. Nobody had Christmas hats on, but that's okay.
Shit.
But
Sorry.
I'm gonna try to post this on Christmas. You think people are gonna watch on Christmas Day, Monday?
Does anybody
so.
even watch this shit, man? Is there even
Poland, everyone in Poland is acting like you need to have balance and spend the time with family. And then when I check the statistics on the YouTube, every fucker is watching it.
That's true. Yeah. Well,
So much balance, actually. So much balance.
from what I hear,
4 hours once you're home, you're kind of just, doing your thing.
Yeah. Like right now, I'm here with family, but they had a soccer game, and I didn't really go to the soccer game, so I'm here.
Fuck them kids.
But hey, but happy Christmas, everybody. Enjoy it with your loved ones. Have all the food and fentanyl that you can have, and have a great time.
You're gonna go to jail, man.
I'm still
I'm here
waiting
knocking on the.
I'm still waiting for the link.
Oh,
What?
the link, the fentanyl link. We gotta hop on an episode with David on his podcast too. I don't know which I want to. Yeah, we gotta hop on one of his podcasts too. And also, I should probably say all this off air. So, happy Christmas, everybody. Enjoy your fentanyl. We see y'all next time.
Very